Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and tonight we have guest Joyce Isaacson. Whoa, I butchered that already. It's not a hard name. Joyce Isaacson. She's the author of Wish You Were Here, Badfinger, a rock fantasy. We're going to be talking about what is the afterlife like on the other side. That's a lot of the concept of this book. You heard the term or the name Badfinger. Remember the band from the 70s, Badfinger. If you're not familiar with it, go look them up in the commercial breaks. I wish I could still play music on the show. I'd be playing Badfinger all night long because I've been reading her book. I'm about 200 pages in, and it has to do with Tommy Evans, who was the bass player, and his journey on the other side. Have you ever wondered what heaven's like? What souls are like on the other side, especially celebrities? You know, is their experience different? Joyce has an insight into this. We're going to get into her story tonight and her book. I cannot wait. I've been excited to do this show. And, of course, what we do every Sunday night is the World Wide Web of Weird, and we do have a lot of weird to cover. So let's go ahead and get rolling into the show. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. We're streaming out live to Facebook, YouTube, and on our internet radio station, which you can listen on TalkStream on their Paranormal Radio app if you want to just listen. But if you're listening and wondering what this is all about, we are also a webcast. Like I said, you can watch on our Facebook page, Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup, or you can watch on our YouTube channel. You can look it up by just typing in Jason Bland or Paranormal Soup, and you should find it right there. We're live on both. Choose your option on how you want to watch or listen listen. And, of course, on the radio station, when you miss Paranormal Soup, on the days you count down until Sunday, you can listen to the rebroadcast of all of our classic episodes on our Paranormal radio station on our website, nwpparanormalsoup.com, or you can listen on TuneIn. I'm trying to get us on TuneIn, on the Paranormal Radio app or TalkStream Live. Check it out. All right, let me bring up our panel of people here. Our guests will be joining us after the first commercial break after the World Wide Web of Weird by phone. We don't have her by video tonight, but we do have my lovely co-host with me, Jamie D. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
Doing great, and really excited to hear what she has to say. It's an intriguing topic.
It is. Ever since I was a little kid, I have that wild imagination. I've always wondered what the afterlife is like. Some of my favorite movies all deal with people who've passed on in the afterlife, like Defending Your Life, one of my all-time favorite movies. What Dreams May Come, The Others, all these, some of my top. I didn't think about it till I started reading this book. Wish You Were Here, Badfinger, a rock fantasy. I didn't start thinking about it. I'm like, God, yeah, a lot of my favorite movies have to do what it's like after you die. It's something I've been always curious about, and we're going to get into a lot of those concepts tonight, so I'm really excited. Rob should be joining us. He was on his way home, so he should be with us soon. Hopefully he'll make it in time here for the World Wide Web of Weird. And speaking of, we should roll in to the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, I figured we'd start out with something we've been talking about, I think, in the last couple World Wide Web of Weirds. There seems to be a lot of weird, strange creature phenomenon happening here right in my home state of Indiana. And this one comes from singular14.com. Witness reports anomalous balls of light near location of Indiana's Prairie Creek Reservoir Mothman sightings. This is from February 7th, 2019, this year. And there's been a lot of strange creature sightings around Indiana, around Gary. We've been covering it, and man, if I had time, I'd be going to these locations to check it out. I really want to. I've never had a cryptid sighting, especially one as weird as these are reporting. For those listening on our radio network, Paranormal Soup 24/7 Radio, we are a webcast, as I said before. You can watch Jeffy Chan runs our World Wide Web of Weird. We have videos and pictures. I don't know, we have a lot of videos tonight, really have a lot of articles. But this first one from Singular 14 Society recently corresponded through a series of emails with a man who said he had witnessed many balls of light in a rural area of Indiana near Prairie Creek Reservoir. Prairie Creek Reservoir has been the center of recent string of reports that describe sightings of a winged humanoid in the region. I'm about 7 miles from the Prairie Creek Reservoir, the witness said. I've seen many balls of lights in the area from farmland towards Muncie. They are intelligent, he continued. I've seen them react, change color, move, or shut off. The 51-year-old man stated that his family moved to the area in 1979, and his first sighting of a glowing orb in the area was in the summer of 1981 when he was 12. It was clear summer night sky, he said. I saw an orange amber-colored ball light about 20 feet above the trees. It started towards me slowly, so I ran and I got my mom. When we came back out, it was over our trees. The actual size is hard to say, but I guess 3 feet across. It was totally silent, and it moved off the west out of the sight behind the trees. Funny thing, probably the summer before, I used to blink one of those old flashlights with a switch and button into the sky, he added. Since his initial sightings in 81, the witness said he had a number of sightings of strange glowing orbs in the area, seemingly as recently as 2016. I'm guessing I've seen them 8 or so times when they were either red or orange, and maybe the 3 or 4 where they were white. The last time was a few years back in the summer of 2016. I was driving east coming home at night when I spotted an orb that was orange, and it seemed like a second one right next to it was changing back from red to orange and dimming to the dark. So I got on my road, turning south, and came to a stopwatch. The car window was down, so I fumbled with my phone to hit the record, and snap, it was gone. That's how it always works. The sightings occurred in the area south and between Parker City farmland near Windsor and aligned themselves with a 2,000-year-old Native American burial plot in the shape of an oval that covers the acre of land. To the west of the sighting and the mound in a nearly straight line lie the Prairie Creek Reservoir and Mound State Park. You know, you wonder, there's more to this article. Check it out at singular14.com. Bigfoot sightings, there's been ghost lights like these associated with them. And, Skinwalker Ranch comes to mind, a lot of the creatures and stuff and the glowing lights there and that kind of phenomenon. Could we have our own Skinwalker Ranch in Indiana? Please say so. That's what I hope. I want to find, I've been intently looking for this stuff that's starting to pop up and these creatures that people are spotting in Indiana. Maybe we got an open vortex. Something's happening here. I don't know. I'm inquiring minds want to know. And if I had more free time, I'd be driving down to Muncie and in that area and checking it out myself. I don't get to do that. That's why I do this show. I get to reach out to the world through the internet. But I have a busy life, and I don't get to travel and do these things. I would love to, and it's right in my doorstep. It's right near me. I want to check this out so bad. All right, let's move on. All right, this one comes from Fox News. Fake news? No. FoxNews.com, but this was all over. Fox just had a short article of it. Harvard professor doesn't back down from claims that alien spacecraft may be zipping past Jupiter's orbit. Distinguished Harvard professor is not backing down from his claims that a piece of extraterrestrial spacecraft technology may be flying past the orbit of Jupiter at this moment. Avi Loeb, one of the top astronomy professors in the world, boasting of decades of Ivy League professorships and hundreds of publicized works in respected astronomy publications, is remaining defiant that the space object was dubbed Omnuma. I don't know if I butchered that. I probably did. First noticed by a Hawaiian astronomer in 2017 could be from another civilization. Considering an artificial origin, one possibly is that Uma, I'm probably butchering it, is a light sail floating in interstellar space as debris from an advanced technology equipment, Loeb said. And his colleague Shamel Bailey wrote in Astrophysical Journal letters in November, according to the Washington Post. Umana is not an alien spaceship, and the authors of the paper insult. This is from, I missed part. Since making shocking claims last year, many scientists have criticized Loeb for offering, in his view, the most sensationalist theory of what the object is. Umana is not an alien spaceship, and the author of the paper's insults honest scientific inquiry even suggested. Ohio State University astrophysicist Paul M. Sutter wrote in a tweet. Other scientists are more diplomatic and haven't publicly countered Loeb's claims, only saying that the object is likely some sort of rock, whether it's a piece of asteroid or comet. But Loeb remains stubborn on his theory and dismisses the claims that it's a rock, noting that it's moving too fast for an inert rock. He told the Post that the object is long, yet no more than 1 millimeter thick, and that it's so light that the sunlight is moving the object out of the solar system. Many people expected once there would be this publicity, I would back down, Loeb said. If someone shows me evidence to the contrary, I will immediately back down. It changes your perception of reality just knowing that we're not alone, he continued. We are fighting on borders, on resources. It would make us feel a part of planet Earth as a civilization rather than individual countries voting on pretext. Ronald Reagan made that comment, how we would all band together. That's what scares me is a fake alien invasion. But the solar sail, he's saying it's, from what they're able to tell, it's so thin it has to be the solar sail. I don't know. I've always thought the whole solar sail theory for a spacecraft or aliens, man, it'd just be too slow to get here. Oh, we just lost Jeff. I better pull up. Oh, there he is. Okay, you're back. Scared me, Jeff. We almost lost you. All right, let's move on before we lose Jeff. But I thought that was interesting that this guy he's not backing down from it. He believes it's an alien spacecraft. All right, or possibly. All right, number 3 is just I have to play this for this next article for sure.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
That guy deserves that. This is from Colorado.com. Trail runner suffocated mountain lion after attack west of Fort Collins. You heard that right. Trail runner attacked by a mountain lion Monday while running in Horsetooth Mountain Park killed the predator by suffocating it. Colorado Parks and Wildlife officials confirmed the man's account of the attack through further investigation and examining the juvenile mountain lion. A necropsy was performed Monday night on the mountain lion to determine if it was sick or injured, which might have prompted the attack. CPW officials said they expect to have results of the necropsy either today or Wednesday. The man, whose name and place of residence has not been released, was attacked Monday afternoon while on the West Ridge Trail, which is near Horsetooth Rock. He told officials he heard something behind him on the trail. As he turned, he was attacked. He said he was bitten on his face, wrist, but was able to fight and break free from the lion. Wildlife officers found the mountain lion dead near where the incident took place while looking for items the runner asked them to look for on the trail. The man sustained serious but not life-threatening injuries and hiked down the trail at least 3 miles, drove himself to a local hospital, according to CPW. The runner did everything he could to save his life, said Mark Leslie, CPW's North Region manager. In the event of a lion attack, you need to do anything in your power to fight back, just as the gentleman did. The Popular Park was reopened on Monday evening after closing due to the investigation. But, man, that is some badassery, man. I mean, wow. Choked a mountain lion to death. Most interesting man in the world. I don't know. That adrenaline. That's just pure adrenaline. This man fought for his life. Literally had it like. Imagine choking. It's a juvenile mountain lion. It weighed about 80 pounds. That's still a big cat, man. Imagine choking that thing to death. That you just had that much adrenaline to fight for your life. It's just crazy.
Yeah, when a regular house cat freaks out on you, that's bad enough. But
I know little cats scare me.
80 pound. Yeah.
Oh yeah, little cats scare me, man. This is one thing. Like your house cat, if they were big enough, they'd eat you. The look in their eyes, trust me. If they were big enough, they'd eat you. Cats freak me out a little bit. I have one of my own. She can freak me out sometimes, and she's a teeny little girl. But it's like she suddenly gets sassy with me. I'm like, oh, settle down, simmer down. All right, let's yeah. Number 4 in the World Wide Web of Weird. They've been talking about this for years, and now they're really pushing it. It makes me scared. Earth's magnetic North Pole has officially moved. Earth's magnetic North Pole, and this is from Forbes.com, has drifted so fast that authorities have had to officially redefine the location of the magnetic North Pole. The extreme wandering of the North Pole has caused increasing concerns over navigation, especially in high latitudes. Earth's magnetic field is known to have wandered and flipped in the geologic past. Earth's magnetic field is a result of spinning molten iron and nickel at 1,800 miles below the surface. At that constant flow of molten metal is in the outer core, changes over time. It alters the external magnetic field. What we've seen in the past 100 years is the location of the magnetic North Pole has moved northward. The migration of the magnetic North Pole, how many times do I have to say that, make it a drinking game, was switched into overdrive in the past few years, causing the pole to rapidly move. Sorry, no thanks for the ad, Forbes. Hate that on my tablet, an ad comes up. The North Pole was switched to overdrive in the past few years, causing the pole to rapidly move. The increased speed with which the magnetic North Pole has moved prompted authorities to officially update its location. The official location of the magnetic pole is specified by the World Magnetic Model, which acts as a basis for navigation, communication, GPS, etc. around the globe. On Monday, the World Magnetic updated their official location of the magnetic north. The model is typically updated every 5 years and was last updated in 2015. You see the picture is, what I worry about when they talk about the shifting in the North Poles. When I was in the 90s, listening to Art Bell, they were always talking about the pole shift. The pole shift's coming. You better be ready. The Earth's going to flip. I'm not making fun of it. It's something that actually does scare me that could happen because it's happened in our geological past. And, what would be the consequences of that? Is it like that 2012 movie? I don't know. Things to make you paranoid. World Wide Web of Weird.
Could get interesting.
All right, let's move on to number 5 here.
I don't have any long pants either. So.
Hey, that pool can flip and make this the equator, and we'd be nice and warm. That'd be great. You could do that.
Florida can freeze over.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on here. All right. This is something we've brought up before is about DNA, these DNA sites. And the new news that came out, this is from MindsUnleashed.com, is popular DNA testing company admits to sharing genetic data with the FBI. And you remember they caught the BTK killer. Wasn't that because of a genetic database? Was it No, it wasn't the BTK. Sorry. No, that was not it. It was a recent one, not BTK. It was another killer they caught because of the genetic database. I can't remember.
Yeah.
We covered in the World Wide Web. No. It actually wasn't a famous one. I said BTK came to mind, but it wasn't. Yeah. but they're catching people with this. If you're like millions of others across the United States, you may have considered buying a DNA genetic analysis test. The offer is tempting. For under $100, you can potentially unearth new details about your ancestry, distant relatives, and diverse ethnic background from comfort of your own home. Elizabeth Warren did. According to some advertisements, lives have been changed, families reunited thanks to the service being sold by 23andMe, Ancestry.com, and other consumers of genetic testing companies. Yet, while the temptation of trading a simple saliva sample for personalized genetic and health info may seem to be worth the cost, a recent report from BuzzFeed News has raised new concerns for civil liberties advocates. As it turns out, Houston, Texas-based Family Tree DNA, one of the most prominent private DNA testing companies, has given FBI free license to search its genealogy database, granting feds virtually unlimited access to a treasure trove of genetic data for the purpose of solving violent crimes. Late Thursday, the company confirmed in a statement to BuzzFeed that it had granted the law enforcement agency virtually unfettered access to the nearly 2 million genetic profiles it hosts on its grounds, that the new relationship would help law enforcement agencies solve violent crimes faster than ever. The partnership makes the first time that a commercial direct-to-consumer genetic testing company has handed law enforcement access to user data. And while the move is sure to enrage some those who use the company's home testing kits without knowing the FBI would eventually acquire the genetic data, the new agreement will also impact those with whom they are related. That's the thing. You might not have put your DNA up there and you're a murderer, but guess what? Your brother might have, your sister or somebody, and they go, hey, this person's related to the killer. And then they go from there, So, yeah, I just saw an article, I didn't get to read it yet, about they're saying Big Pharma is buying DNA, getting this information from these DNA companies, too, for whatever purposes, which is kind of scary. So I've never done it. I'm interested. I'm interested to know my DNA and ancestry, and I'd love to do it. Yeah, that's the guy that got caught. I don't remember which one it is. I can't read it, but I remember it's covering on the World Wide Web of Weird. And there's going to be more. I mean, they're going to start doing this. And you wonder, the company just voluntarily handed this stuff over. I know how the FBI works. Right. I know how the FBI works. They didn't really voluntarily over. Trust me, this company's about making money. They didn't want to do this. I'm sure the FBI did something to strong-arm them into doing it. And there'll be more companies to follow.
Yep.
I mean, it's great they catch killers.
Yeah, I see the potential in it, but with that good intent, there's also things that could drastically go wrong.
Yep. And one of my favorite movies is Gattaca. And you look how they use DNA in that. Yeah. All right, let's move on. All right, so this one I thought was interesting. There's not much to this story, so we don't have a lot to talk about it, but I find it interesting. This comes from the mountainreporter.com. Man claims extraterrestrials are to blame in Highway 18 rollover accident. On Wednesday, February 6, a solo vehicle accident occurred on the Highway 18 above Red Rock Wall. A white Ford E350 van, for unknown reasons, overturned on Highway 18, landing on its side street, crossing oncoming traffic. The van was traveling upwards towards Rim Forest just after 1:34 p.m., according to CHP transcripts of the original 9/11 call. The driver adamantly stated that his van was flipped over by aliens. Additionally noted in the CHP transcripts, the male driver became confrontational with bystanders and officers, then stated that he did not want law enforcement on the scene and demanded a tow truck. The van laying on its side was not a traffic hazard. It was off the roadway and not blocking traffic lanes. 3 California Highway Patrol units were on scene. The man was not transported for his injuries, and his claims of alien intervention during the traffic accident are under investigation by the Highway California Patrol. Giorgio A. Tsoukalos was not available for comment. Oh, Jesus. From Ancient Aliens. It was aliens. There's not much to this article, but I read something else on it too. Is that he was, they didn't arrest him; they let him go. He wasn't intoxicated, and they're investigating it. I just want to know, how did they flip his van over? Did they drive by with a UFO and flip his van over and go loser? As they went by.
Swerve to avoid coming in contact with the UFO.
The aliens honk at him. I don't know. All right, we got one more. This one's from dailymail.co.uk, and I saw it all over the place. And I've been watching I haven't finished it yet, but the Netflix documentary series on Ted Bundy. I think somebody else might be watching it. Ghost Adventures Zach Baggins spends $50,000 on Ted Bundy glasses, which serial killer wore during an abduction of his youngest victim. Ghost Adventures presenter Zach Baggins spent $50,000 on glasses belonging to serial killer Ted Bundy. If you remember, he also bought Jack Kevorkian's death machine bus, where he killed people in the back of his bus. The paranormal expert, 41, told TMZ he had purchased the bifocals after a crime collectible site put them up for sale. The glasses are to believe have been worn by Bundy, who was put to death by electric chair in 1989 when he abducted 12-year-old Kimberly Leach in Lake City, Florida in February 1978. Baggins said, "It's incredible to know that the eyes of the pure evil looked out these glasses at his victims and the pure hell of what these glasses saw. I shall forever keep them locked up inside my haunted museum, real jail exhibit where they belong." That's what really reason why he's buying it. But I wonder if Zach is sitting back and like Netflix and chill with the Ted Bundy glasses, watching the Ted Bundy documentary. You wonder. Yeah. I hope he doesn't put those on. I think he's learned his lesson not to mess with that stuff like that anymore. But I don't know. I gotta give him yeah, go ahead.
He should buy Ed Kemper's glasses.
Oh God, a lot of these serial killers had glasses. You know what? I don't know.
He still has his original ones.
Oh my God. Oh, he has Ed Kemper's glasses.
No, not Zach. Ed Kemper still has his original glasses.
Oh, yeah. Well, jeez. Is there anything paranormal tied to him? No. What I hate about the whole Ted Bundy thing, I've been watching it, but what I hate about it is that narcissistic SOB would be enjoying knowing that there's a documentary out there. And Zach Baggins is buying his glasses for $50,000. He would have ate it up, and that's the only thing that kills me about the whole thing. I just hate that. But that's it for the World Wide Web of Weird. I do want to see Zach's Haunted Museum, and I have to say, Demon House, I did enjoy the documentary. I did enjoy it. I thought it was done very well. It was very interesting. Yeah. I did enjoy the documentary. I know some people poo-pooed it, but I liked it. I didn't think it was that bad. No. It had some very top people in that. But that's it for the World Wide Web of Weird. When we come back, we're going to have our guest Joyce Isaacson. We're going to talk about her book, Wish You Were Here, Badfinger, a rock fantasy. We're going to be talking a lot about the afterlife tonight, the concepts of it. What have you thought of the afterlife is? Have you seen the afterlife? Have you near-death experience? And have your thoughts of what the afterlife's like? Something my imagination's gone wild with some of my earliest memories is what is the afterlife like? And this book, I'm loving it because it really gets into that subject. So we'll be back after this short commercial break. Don't forget to go check us out on our Patreon page. If you want to help this show, become a World Wide Web Weird tier member or become a Paranormal Soup Patreon, and you get some exclusive content and you help keep this show going. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
Here for one purpose, necromancy.
A ceremony dating back to the pre-Christian era. It's the art of reviving the dead. It requires involvement with evil spirits by the person performing the act.
The devil god brings life to the dead.
No, please. No, please.
And death to the living. Necromancy. Starring Orson Welles and Pamela Franklin. From Cinerama releasing. In color, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
hear from leading researchers in the field. Join Justin Brown on his 3 weekly shows named My Paranormal Soapbox, Necromancer Live Show, and the Supernatural Symposium, live on Facebook, YouTube, and InterfaceDev.net.
He is conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
Hello, I am Fernando Martinez. I think by now you know I am an emotional kind of guy. People stop me in the street and say, Fernando, what the hell is wrong with me? Silk shirt, hairy chest, enough aftershave to drown a household pet, but I still cannot get a woman. I tell them you are an ignorant fool. Without a symbol of power and fertility around your neck, what kind of woman is going to respect you? That is why I have teamed up with Medallion Man, the shop for medallion needs. Medallion Man caters to all levels of masculinity. For the strong, silent type, a medallion the size of a hubcap will say everything that needs to be said. Even singing medallions for the Casanova, who knows music is the food of love. Model trains, dollhouses, diapers, whatever your interest, we've got a medallion for you. Don't forget, every woman knows if you can't support a medallion, you can't support a family.
This is the sound of a space clock aboard a U.S. satellite 180 miles above the Earth. No one winds up this timepiece. It's powered by a tiny battery, a battery that delivers power for years without replacement. Now the same type of battery, the Duracell battery, can bring new reliability and long life to your battery-operated equipment. Radios, cameras, toys, all run far longer. Duracell batteries, the long-distance power cells, outlast any ordinary battery. The same type of battery that keeps space clocks running for years can bring long life to anything powered by batteries. Dura, as in durable. Cell, as in power cell. The Duracell battery, made by Mallory.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Switch to DCS ranging.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe, 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Joyce Isaacson. Joyce Isaacson has been happily married for 28 years. She has one son and her baby Taylor, a cat. She loves to make new recipes, write in her blog. Over 1,000 members are eagerly awaiting the publication of Wish You Were Here. She enjoys talking to other writers. Working for the Chicago Tribune Editorial Department for 10 years, she gained invaluable skills, primarily in art and journalism. In grade school, she won a poetry contest. The writing bug bit her, and she has never stopped doing what she loves. In high school, Joyce formatted her school newspaper and interviewed local rock stars. Her love of fantasy and the paranormal, coupled with her fascination with rock and roll, compelled her to write Wish You Were Here, Badfinger, a rock fantasy. I've been reading it. I didn't get to finish it. I'm like 200 pages in. I'm really enjoying it, though. Covers Tommy Evans, one of the band members, his journey through heaven. and the afterlife. We're going to get into that concept a lot. Something my imagination's gone wild with for years, wondering what is the afterlife like. I'm an agnostic, but I am not a non-believer. I believe in another side. I believe in an afterlife. My question is, what is it? What is on the other side? What is the afterlife? Do souls communicate from us from the other side? This is like the whole purpose of everything I do, you know. And what happens even to those who are celebrities on the other side? Is it different for them? You know, with, you know, how does consciousness affect it and our perceptions of other people? There's so many ideas, and we're going to get into a lot of those stuff. We will have phone lines open tonight, but 2 of the 4 lines are down. The phone lines that are open tonight, the phone line 219-230-4444, that is open, and the Skype ID 00JBland00. Those are the 2 ways to call in. Don't call in on the other Skype or the other phone line. They will not be open tonight. Just the 219-230-4444 or Skype ID 00JBland00. That's the way to call in. If you call in early on the show, just remember you might have to wait a little bit before we call on you. But let's go ahead and get to our guest. You there with us, Joyce?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Now, I gave a little bit of an introduction of you, but I'd like you to tell the audience a little bit more about yourself and take us on a journey how you got to writing this book, which, Joyce, I've been thoroughly enjoying. I don't know if you heard any at the beginning of the show, if you listened in. I talked about some of my favorite books and movies all have to deal with the afterlife. I mean, one of my all-time top favorite movies is Defending Your Life. It's all about what happens after you die, and
I enjoyed it too.
You know, it's just something that's always fascinating. So when you sent me an email asking to be a guest on here, and I read the synopsis for your book, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm totally into this because I love this idea. And I love Badfinger. I grew up on, my mom was a big Beatles fan, Badfinger fan. I mean, she had the record albums. When I would go to my grandparents' house. My mom left all of her old records there, and definitely had put the Badfinger album on when I was a little kid.
Wow. When I was growing up, I didn't even know about Badfinger. I knew about the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin, and I've never heard Badfinger even on the radio.
Wow.
Which is, yeah. It really, I watched snippets of Behind the Music with Badfinger, and I really wasn't paying attention because I was taking care of my child at the time. So that sort of went over my head. But I did know that 2 of the members had passed away, but I didn't know their names. Basically what happened was, my husband made me a Facebook site in 2009. And I basically ignored it. And
like a profile? Like a Facebook profile?
Yeah, he made me a Facebook profile.
Trying to force you into the social media world.
Yeah, he was trying to force me, and I said, no, I'm into MySpace, and that's it. And
Your husband knew something there.
Oh, yeah, he knew. But what happened was, in 2014, he asked me, he had this little radio station, which actually has grown now. It's getting big. And he told me to put away some CDs. And I came across I think it's called The Best of Badfinger. And I recognized Joey Mullen on the cover. Now, I knew who Joey Mullen was. I tried to see him back in 1987, and I could not. I came down with bronchitis. But Joey, he signed my Baby Blue for me. I've never played Baby Blue. I just kept it because of the autograph.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, basically, when my husband, when I went ahead and I was putting the things away, when I noticed Joey, I said, I got to put this on. And I put it on my CD player, and I listened, and there was this one song called Rock of All Ages, and it just sang to me. It sounded like a Beatles song.
Many people thought Badfinger were the Beatles when they came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because they were on Apple, for one.
Yes. And my husband was coming down the stairs, and I said, listen to this. Doesn't this sound like a Beatles song to you? And he said, yeah, it does. I said, this is Badfinger. And I just started listening to some of the songs from them. And I looked at the liner notes a little bit, and I learned just a little tad about them, just a little bit. I kind of glanced at it. I didn't really, get into it or anything. I was more interested in the music, to tell you the truth,
Right.
because it was new to me. So basically, all of a sudden, I asked my husband, and I said, well, make me a Facebook page. And I wanted to get into some other music on there. I said, can I get into Zeppelin? Can I get into a Zeppelin page? He said, oh, yeah. He says, okay. So he showed me how to work it and everything, and I joined a Led Zeppelin group. Then all of a sudden, one day, I think it was a couple weeks later, I can't remember exactly, but I had this vision, and Tommy Evans came in through the window. I had sat down like a table, a long table with food on it in my vision. And Tommy came in, the first thing he asked me was, what is this, the thirsty whale? And I laughed and said to him, I've heard of the thirsty whale, but I've never been to the thirsty whale. He says, oh, I've been there quite a few times. And he started to munch on some of the things, which was pizza. I put pizza down and some tea, because I thought, the British like tea and stuff. And
That's
some
a good
sugar
assumption.
cubes and milk. Yeah. So I put all that stuff down. And then he said to me, I was told not to come empty-handed. And he came over to me and he put this necklace around, a spiritual necklace around my neck. I could see the necklace and everything in the vision. And it was like a blue sapphire diamond. And I remember I said to him, I always wear it. And then he says to me, can I see you again? I said, okay. What else am I going to say? And then he zipped right back through the window.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have a friend who's very open to these things. And he might be actually listening right now as we're speaking. And I told him about the vision I had. And he said, Joyce, I have to come over and show you something. And I said, what is it? He says, I'm coming over and I'm bringing this book. And he came over right away. And he gave me the book. And then he left. He just said, page through the book. So I started paging through the book, and I came across the same necklace that he had worn, that he put on me, that was actually he was wearing in the picture. It was the same shape and everything. And I was like bowled over by it. So I got very interested. I asked him, he said, I think you have a connection. And I'm like, well, we'll see. See, I'm the type of person that doesn't believe something until it actually happens. And I also don't believe anything I can't confirm.
Right.
If I can't confirm it, it goes in one ear and out the other. So anyway, basically what happened was I just said to my husband, can I join a Badfinger group? And he said, sure. And he showed me what to do. And I joined one. And then I found out that everybody was hurting in the group. Everybody. And I felt so bad. I said, what can I do to make them feel better? And I decided, you know what? I'm going to write Tommy and Pete in heaven. And I wrote a snippet. And everybody, and it was funny because I wrote down some other people, some famous people in there. How did they get in there? So everybody was giving me likes and comments, all positive. And so I wrote a little bit more, and I got more likes and positive comments. Then what happened was I realized that how did these people really get into this snippet, into the story? So I decided to write a backstory. And that's how it really began. And then I came to the part where Tommy was going to heaven. And I was about, I would say, 1/4 into it. And I felt Tommy behind me. And he said to me, all I've been doing is looking for Pete Ham in heaven. And it would be a very boring story if you don't have me meet somebody. So I said, well, who would you like me, who would you like to meet? He said, okay, let's try Janis Joplin. I said, okay. So I looked up some information on her and put her in the story, and
Yeah, I love
it
that.
went on like that. Yeah. And then I asked again, who would you like to meet? He said, I've met Cass Elliot. I said, okay, so we'll put Cass Elliot in the story. And then I found out a little bit later that, yeah, he was on a show with Cass Elliot. So I found that was pretty interesting. Though he's, like he said, he's met Cass Elliot in life, but he's never met Janis Joplin. So I wrote in the story basically that Tommy loved pizza. And I would find out later on that through friends that actually knew Tommy that he did like pizza. And also I found out through friends his favorite colors, and I had put them already in the story. Wow. So I knew something was very strange here. Extremely strange. Now, the story was just so long, I needed to take it to my own site. I had to do that. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but I went ahead and took it to my own site, and believe it or not, nobody could find me. Just 2 people found me, actually, and I was writing for them for about 6 months. And meanwhile, when I was doing that, I was trying to get other people to join, and they said, well, we can't find your page.
Typical problem. I've had that at the beginning. Yeah.
Oh, you've had that problem.
Oh, yeah.
So my friend, Eddie Burns is not listening right now, but he found me a Facebook page. He made it for me. And we needed a name for it. And my friend who gave me the book said, why don't you call it Wish You Were Here? I thought, well, that sounds like an interesting name. He's looking for Pete, so he wishes that Pete were here, so Wish You Were Here. Why not? Now, writing this story, I went through emotional as well as physical pain, tooth pain, bronchitis, headaches, but I kept on writing the story. Okay, so now a little later on, I had a personal thing happen to me, and I had to put everything in my shed, all my belongings, and water came into the shed.
Ooh.
And, it was horrible.
I know that feeling, Bill.
Oh, my gosh. And Tommy happened to be there, and he was there watching them take everything out of the shed. And he said they took 80 bags out of the shed. And I said, I got to go find out for myself, So I went outside, and I asked the guy, before I even looked in the shed, and I said, how many bags did you take away? He said, we took about 80 bags. And I was like floored that happened.
It sounds like, Joyce, in your experience, this is like part of you is like, this is just my imagination.
Yeah.
And then something like that confirms it for you, that it's not your imagination.
Well, here's the big kicker. Because this personal thing had happened to me, I was supposed to go for blood tests because I'm on cholesterol pills, I'm on this pill, I'm on that pill. And I was supposed to take a blood test every 3 months. And we went through this personal problem for a year. And I did not take the blood test, and I forgot all about it. And I was woken up in the morning by Tommy's voice. He said, Joyce, you have to go to the doctor. And I said, first of all, why is my character talking to me and asking me to go to the doctor?
Yeah.
And he said, again, it's very important that you make that appointment. So I said, you know what? I said, if my leg hurts me, because I knew my leg had hurt me off and on, if it hurt me today, I'll make the appointment. It didn't hurt me that day. The next morning, it was killing me. And again, he said, you have to go for the blood test. And I said, okay, I'm making the appointment. So I made the appointment on Monday. I went in, and on Tuesday, they called me back and they said, Joyce, if you didn't come in any sooner, you would have been dead. This actually happened. I had to tell my doctor about it as well. He said to me, you got a good angel on your side. So after that, I kept on writing for about 2 years. I went through, again, more bronchitis, and I couldn't talk for a whole month. And I just kept on writing. And before I knew it, there were people that were saying, publish the story. And I sat on it for a whole year because I didn't know anything about publishing or editing or anything, or even the format, if it was right or wrong at the time. But people were saying, come on, do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to see what I can do. And I started actually reaching out to other authors, and they were telling me, well, your writing is a different format. You know, do you want to be first person or third person? And I'm like, I want to be first person, I guess. And they're showing me how to do it. And I'm like, okay. So I had something like 800 pages I had to turn around. And I went into it 14 times. And from there, I said, well, I need an editor, but I don't know how much an editor is going to cost me. And I reached out to editors on LinkedIn, and they did some samples for me, and they tore my story apart. Totally. And I didn't know what to do. And finally, I reached another editor. His name was Dennis D. Rose. And we talked on the phone, something that other editors would not do. And we decided we would work together. And he showed me a sample, and he did not tear it apart. And I have to say, he really made this story shine.
And he's in the chat room.
Yeah, he's in the chat room.
Well, like I said, I'm thoroughly enjoying the book. Some of there's so many different concepts we can get into that came into this book, like that there's different levels to heaven.
Yes.
There's spiritual money.
Yes.
Like these are very interesting concepts, and I'd love to know where this came from. I mean, did this come from Tommy? Yeah,
came from Tommy. Yes.
Let's talk
it came directly from him.
Let's talk about a little bit about these some of these concepts of what is heaven? What is it like? What did Tommy tell you that it's like?
Well, he told me the first level was very much like what the earth level was like, because that's all they can understand. And then the second level, there's more understanding, so they have mansions and things like that. And then it goes further up. It's like you get a house, a smaller house, and farther up you go. He said, he can't tell me what 7th level is like, but he knows what the 6th level is like, because he knows another soul that was on the 6th level.
But he can't go there because he's on the 5th level.
He can't go there because he's on the 5th level.
Right.
And the reason why he's on that level is also because he said he was cremated, and it was not something that he himself chose to do. So he went to a higher level, and it took him time to get acclimated or whatever to that level. It did take him some time.
Right.
But he said, yes, there's spiritual money, and I was actually able to confirm that from certain spiritual people, that it does exist. And I was also able to confirm from my friend who is Jewish, from what we call the Gomorrah, that a person gets the same house that they had in their lifetime, which I found very interesting.
Yeah, I've
because
heard that.
I found that like two years into this story.
Well, one of my other favorite movies is Beetlejuice. I mean, I'm telling you, I started thinking about all my really, really favorite movies are all about people who've died in the afterlife. In Beetlejuice, what happens? They end up stuck in their house. They can't even go outside their house without getting eaten by some giant worm. So
Right.
These are the things that fascinate me. These ideas.
Definitely.
And it seems like you've gotten that's what I'm reading this book is like, and getting to talk to you. It's like you've gotten this kind of insight from the other side.
Yeah.
I'm sure the audience, one of the first questions is why did Tommy tell you why he came to you?
Well, honestly, he was supposed to come to me in 1983, and I wouldn't have known him from Adam, to tell you the truth,
Right.
Nothing. And he was supposed to work with me. He actually was the one that helped me to get this book out. He gave me the courage to do it, because with all honesty, I had 33 dead people in the book, and I needed a lawyer to read it to tell me whether I get the green light or not.
I wondered that.
And no pro bono lawyer would touch me.
Yeah.
No one would touch me. And I was very, very upset. And I lay down on the couch for 3 days. And I just wanted this airplane there's airplanes that go right over my house. I said, just crash into me, please, crash into me. And then Tommy was sitting with me, and I could feel him. I felt tingles, and I knew he was sitting with me. I didn't feel a cold spot. I don't feel cold spots with him, just tingles and a warmth. So I know that he's with me when he is. And he said to me, Joyce, you have to cut up cardboard. And I said, why do I have to cut up cardboard? He said, because of the books you're going to sell. And I said, Tommy, the whole thing is stopped. He said, don't worry, you're going to publish. And I'm like, you don't understand. A pro bono lawyer won't touch me. It's $4,500 for a lawyer to read my story. I don't have $4,500. He said, well, it's going to happen. And I didn't believe him. He says, you know what you should do? He said, you should cut up the cardboard for therapy. So I said, okay, fine. I'm not going to argue with the spirit, okay? So I went and cut up 40 pieces of cardboard in 3 days. And it made me feel better. I just cut it and said, okay, this is for the lawyer that doesn't want to touch me or whatever, you know. So I did it. And then I went on LinkedIn about a week later, and I was so surprised because I found somebody in my group who was on LinkedIn who was also in my Facebook. His name is Jason. Like your name.
Good name.
Yeah, good name. And he was a lawyer. And I reached out to him and said, look, if you read my book, I'll give you a free book. Just like that, and he jumped at it. He said, okay. So here I am waiting for the red lights, because I thought that's it, you know, he's going to read it and he's going to find something. Either I'm going to have to change it or I'm going to have to scrap it, whatever. And he gave me the green light. And I published. My publishing date was supposed to be in February, but it turned out on Tommy's birthday. June 5th is when I officially published the story on his birthday.
Tommy's in a Gemini like me. I'm June 10th.
Yeah.
So
it's really.
So it's like, you know, some of the I got all these movies come to mind that I'm sorry if I reference them, because like I said, some of my favorite movies were about the afterlife. I even think of that one movie from the 80s of the guy. Oh God, I'm totally losing it. This guy dies in a drag race. What is that movie? And he comes back to help some other young kid. Whatever. Is it kind of like that? Tommy is sent down to like help people, like a mission for his own development. Yeah,
I agree on that. I think that's what it is. I do.
You're not the first person who's pinned something from somebody who's passed on, like their story or stories, or you know, some people have gone on. There was one lady who wrote stories claiming that she channeled it from Mark Twain. You know, there's
interesting.
Yeah, there's plenty of history of this. You know, in the paranormal world, it's not a new thing. A lot of people have claimed to, you know, they call it channel. I don't know if that's what you're doing.
Well,
you talked about physical symptoms you had. You mentioned that earlier. Do you think that was tied to Tommy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. I can put my hand out, and if he takes my hand, I can feel the tingles and the warmth of it. Yeah, definitely.
But you said you had, like, physical ailments.
Oh, the physical ailments were just because I was sick.
Just sick.
And that's all. I was just sick. I didn't have physical ailments from him.
Okay. That's why I wanted, because I heard you mention that earlier. Because some people do.
No.
I mean, some people can feel all kinds of stuff from
No, I feel like a warmth. I feel like a warmth and a tingling. And he sometimes warms me up. I can feel him on one side. If he goes on the other side of my computer, forget it. we're going to be disconnected if he does that.
Now, he's been able to kind of physically manifest some things, too.
Yes.
And
yes.
that to me, that's some powerful spiritual stuff. Let's, you talked about the necklace, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a paranormal investigator, and I've seen some stuff. I've seen a driver's license that manifest somebody, a client had. It was actually before I became a trained investor. I shouldn't say client. This was when I was just getting into it. But they had a driver's license of the deceased woman in their apartment just manifest and then disappear.
Well, we have a situation. My husband, he's never seen it, but it's happened. Tommy would say, "Put more paprika on the fish," and my husband likes paprika. And my husband would put the paprika on the table, and my husband would come up to me and say, "Joyce, where's the paprika?" I said, "It's on the table." He says, "No, it's not." I said, "Well, I don't know where it is. You must have put it somewhere." He said, "No, I didn't even touch it." And then we find it on the other table. And nobody touched it. And then another time, the paprika, it disappeared again, and I found it in my spice rack. And I didn't touch it. He didn't touch it. It just moved from place to place. And then recently, for the first time, my husband experienced Tommy in a very strange way. An envelope, actually, that was stable on a box, it took off. And it landed, boom, right on the floor. And it should have landed on top of something. And it didn't. And my husband said, "This is just not possible." And I said to him, "Welcome to my world." And he said, "Okay." He says, "I never ever doubted you. I believe you and everything." He said, "But I've never experienced it before." So he's experienced it. But I can only talk about things that I can confirm.
Right.
I can't talk about things that I can't confirm. And I have a lot of confirmations here. Just tons of them that we'll probably never even get to.
Well, let's get into some of these confirmation, because there's something, when they're able to manifest stuff like that, move stuff like that, that's a pretty strong connection you have to that spirit to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know. As I said, though, but until it happens, it's hard to believe it. The thing that really was the kicker for me is when I actually prayed, because I was actually supposed to be on another podcast, and they asked me, "But what proof do you really have? Have you ever had a dream of Tommy in it, and anything ever happened from that dream?" And you know what? All these years, I never had.
It's all while you're awake. I mean, really.
Yeah, it was all while I was awake. And I prayed to God, and I asked him, I said, "Is Tommy in my life, or is he not in my life? And if he is in my life, show me how, And that very night, I had a dream with Tommy in it. And I'm not going to get into the details of it, but then all of a sudden, in that morning, when I was waking up from the dream, it was playing Baby Blue on the radio. It just started.
Oh, wow.
Like that. And I was telling my husband about it. My husband said to me, "You know what?" He said, "That was for you."
Well,
he said, "There's no question. That was God talking." So, and I did talk to my brother as well, and he said that you definitely have a connection with him. What's very interesting, because our names also, there's a connection between them. Now, here's the weird thing that just recently happened. I have a friend who has certain Badfinger, it's the expanded editions, and he made me copies of them. And I had a dream before I got the copies. Tommy was singing a song to me in the dream. And I've never heard this song before. I know Badfinger left and right, and I've never heard this before. And my friend decided to put in also a Dodgers CD with it. And I'm listening to the Dodgers, and I'm like, okay, Tommy's on the Dodgers and everything. This is stuff that he did before he was kicked off the Dodgers. It was a live BBC thing. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden there came this one song called Where Were You? And that was the song
that he sang to you.
That he sang to me. And I told my friend about this. And then he came back to me on Messenger, and he says, I'm all shaken up. I said, why? He says, because it's an anagram. I said, what is an anagram to? He says, it's to wish you were here. I said, oh my gosh. So that was something. That was really something. And then when I got the CDs, I was actually washing the dishes in my sink, and I was trying to listen to the CD. It was Badfinger Expanded Edition, and all of a sudden Tommy comes in, because I can't hear it. I'm washing the dishes. Oh my gosh, I feel like a dizzy spell coming on. Oh my gosh. He's like all over me right now. Making sure I don't say anything I shouldn't say.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm okay. It's just, I can feel him. He's really close by.
Well, you get a second. I want to make an announcement to the audience real quick. If people are trying to listen on to our stream on the internet radio, we are having technical difficulties with that. I've been messing with it while I've been listening to Joyce, trying to get it to work. It keeps going offline. So technical difficulties. So we'll have to figure out what the problem is with it. With that. Because I don't think it did that last week, but I didn't, because it was still streaming when I got done last week. This time it's been going on and off, on and off, on and off. Maybe Tommy's mad that I didn't play the music on my radio stream, because I thought about it all week. I don't have a license. I was tempted. Sorry, Tommy. I really wanted to play Badfinger. I love Badfinger. I really wanted to play it.
Well, you know what he told me? He told me before the show. He said, you do a good job. He says, I'm going to make myself known. He said that to me.
Well, don't mess with my radio stream. Just don't mess with my name. Do it in another way. Hey, I will give. I said, Joyce, I offered you before. We'll throw him on the spirit box if he wants to come across that bad, because don't mess with my radio stream.
He's messing with your radio stream. I can feel it. So anyways, I was in the kitchen. I was doing the dishes, and all of a sudden Tommy come running in and says, "You got to hear me song. My song's playing on the radio, on the CD right now." I said, "Tommy, I'm washing the dishes. Can't you see?" He says, "You got to come in." He says, "I'm going to tell you some very important things first," he said. And he told me some very positive things. And then he said, "You got to come in now." So I came in, and sure enough, the song was playing. Oh, wow. It was playing Sing for the Song. I'll never forget that. So this is just a lot of different things with Tommy. I mean, he says to me usually, Joyce, he says, "I can only tell you what on a needed-to-know basis things." That's what he tells me. But sometimes he surprises me.
It seems like spirits are like, they can only tell us so much. Like there's things, rules. They can't tell us certain things. 'Cause, like I said, we do the spirit box stuff on here. And it's like we go down a certain path, that spirit box is really quiet. They're not going to tell us.
Well, I think he's actually messing with your feed right now. Seriously.
Something is, because it just went out again.
That's Tommy.
Oh, Tommy, don't mess with the radio stream. It's brand new. Leave the baby alone.
He's done that with my girlfriend. Just before we were on, he was messing with it was beeping like crazy, and she was on there at the same time when it was beeping. So I was talking to her, and I said something I shouldn't have said to her, and he cut me off like that. He did. And he said, you can't talk about that. And I said, and he gave me a lecture before I came on here. Oh, yeah.
So there's certain things he's like, you can't talk about this.
Exactly.
So it's stuff you kept out of the book then, too. Like, you would, don't put that in the book.
Exactly.
And does he show you, like, I'm curious, too, like, because you give some pretty good visual, feel in the book, but, like, when they're flying and the colors, I mean, is that stuff he kind of shows you, too? Like, what it looked like?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And then I saw something like that on something called, oh, that's funny, the light just went off in my room, I saw Doctor Strange, and I saw the same kind of colors and everything, and I was like really floored by that because I said, that's exactly what Tommy showed me. Exactly. And I've never seen Doctor Strange before.
I haven't seen either.
You got to see Doctor Strange.
The Marvel one, the new one, right?
Yes,
yeah,
the Marvel one.
I've seen pieces of it.
It's beautiful. This kaleidoscope colors and everything. It's just amazing. And that's what Tommy showed me.
Now, I'm in parts, I like I said, I haven't finished the book. You mentioned a lot, too, about, like, you know, Tommy's warned by, he's got an angel that's, like, his guide, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Maybe not the Gabriel, but a Gabriel angel.
A Gabriel.
Yeah. But, you know, he warns them about soul surfers.
Yeah. He doesn't, he shouldn't soul surf.
So what is soul surfing?
Soul surfing is channeling another person or channeling another spirit. And the problem with that is that you never know who you're going to get. Or, or you might get a what they call a dirty line.
Right.
So that's why Gabriel warned him about soul surfing, that he should not do that.
Now, is that kind of what he's doing with you? Because as I'm reading the book, I'm wondering that the whole time.
In the book, I mean, I'm basically the first person he actually reached out to. That's true. I'm the first person he reached out to.
See, that's what I always wondered. I mean, that's what I always wondered about, people, like I said, you're not the only one. Lots of people have this experience of not just celebrities, but communicating with all different kinds of spirits. Some spirits that never had anything to do with them in life, but afterwards they do. And it's you wonder what's going on the other side, what spirits are deciding to do. I loved in the book, because there's, like you said, you had the different levels. And, like, Tommy goes down to, like, level 2 or whatever, or I don't remember, but, like, he goes to a party with Keith Moon.
Oh, yeah.
And there's these different spirits there, like, hanging out and all this stuff. And, and a lot of these people are, like, soul surfers. They're kind of being a little bad there by, like, communicating with Earth and human beings. I thought that and that's what you wonder. I mean, we've had, like I said, we do the spirit box sessions. We feel like if we get down to a certain topic, like something, the hand of the law of the other side, or something comes down and stops the spirits from talking to us.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. But he said to me, you do a good job. He says, I'm going to do something. That's what he's doing.
It's not my radio stream.
He's messing with your radio stream. It's not the first time it happened. I was on another podcast, and he did the same thing when I started talking about something. He messed it up. And he said to me later, he said, I told you not to talk about that.
We're not, come on, Tommy, give me a break here. But I this is the reason why we do the spirit box stuff, though. I do believe they can totally manipulate electronics. For, all kinds of different ways, and to use them to communicate. And
I had a certain situation where I was talking to my girlfriend on the phone, and she knows all about this stuff with me. And I had my food in the oven, and Tommy kept saying, you have to go eat, you have to go eat. And I was just so busy talking to her. He went ahead and he just shut down my computer.
Like, go
he
eat now.
He shut it down. And he said, I wouldn't have done it if you didn't save your stuff. But so you got to go eat. Your food's going to spoil. I'm like, okay. But don't shut down my computer anymore.
Right.
See, I don't ask questions. I put everything in a statement. Like, I'll say, I guess this is what you want. And then he'll know I'm asking a question. Because I was told that asking questions wasn't such a good thing by somebody. So I adhere to that, believe it or not. So there's just two things that I don't do is I don't ask questions, and I don't ask him to pray for me. I don't do that. I pray directly to God. That's what I do. And I really believe that, God uses, us and souls and angels and as tools to help us. That he's always talking to us and we just have to listen, basically. That's what I believe.
I'm a Gnostic. I question everything. But I'm not an atheist. Like I believe in another side.
Mm-hmm.
And I have conversations with God every day. I don't know what God is. I don't ascribe him to any one religion. I don't ascribe to one religion.
I don't know what he looks like.
Yeah, or if it's he,
And
or anything like that.
Tommy's never actually, it's like he gets feelings of what he's supposed to say and do and things like that, and is conscious and stuff like that. But does he hear the God's voice for, the real voice of God? No, he does not. But he knows he's there. He knows it.
In the book, he kind of like God shows up
mistake.
in his surroundings and the things around him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like he asks for it to rain, and God makes it rain for him in heaven, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not much different than life on the other side, and then being alive, kind of with God, just a little more direct.
I think it's more direct. The higher you go, I think the more you can feel God. The higher you go. I think that's what it is. Because you can only, at your certain level, experience so much that you can understand. That's why there's the different levels. That's why I put it in there. And this was Tommy's idea as well. And the whole thing with the limelight and Keith Moon and everything, that was Tommy's idea. It wasn't my idea.
Well, is it stuff that Tommy's experienced over on the other side that he's relaying to you?
No. He's never experienced. He just told me he was just going from door to door, knocking on doors on all the levels, combing heaven, looking for Pete. That's what he told me. He said to me, I said, did you ever meet anybody famous? He says, how long did it take you to meet somebody famous? And I said, well, I finally met Joey in 2017, or was it 18? I think it was 18. And he said to me, well, you see, there you go. I mean, you can go ahead and spin your wheels and not meet somebody famous. It could take a long, long time. I'm like, okay, I get your point. I get it, what you're saying.
But but he is out, searching the realm in a way, for his friend.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. But at that time, when you were communicating with him, he was.
Yeah. When I first started talking to him, he definitely was doing that. But then something had happened where he was able to connect with Pete, because there's a spiritual phone, and
yeah.
I was able to reach out on the spiritual phone to souls out there. And I was looking for Peter Ham. I didn't realize I should be looking for Peter William Ham. And I reached somebody who said he was, and I said that, well, your friend Tommy's been looking for you, and you didn't want to believe me. And so he basically hung up. And I thought, well, that's the end of that. And then he called me back on the spiritual phone, and he said, well, what's his coordinates? And the rest is history. Let's put it that way.
Well, I found that interesting in the book because, you get into that. Tommy learns about the spiritual phone, the way to, connect to people. And again, a lot of stuff brings up my mind, the stuff that goes on in the show with ITC, because you also bring up there's like a spiritual radio, too.
Yes.
And that's what the kind of spirit box feels like. It's like we're picking up on frequencies.
Yes. There's a spiritual radio, and they actually can pick up things through the grapevine. I don't know how they do this, but they're able to do different frequencies and pick them up. Like a radio.
Right.
And and he said, yeah, we have spiritual radios in heaven. I'm like, okay. I don't know. Some of the things he might be telling me could be something of his imagination, but there's certain things he will not tell me. So I can't confirm them. I can confirm the spiritual phone because I've been on the spiritual phone. So I know what that is. But the radio, I'm not so sure about. That I can't confirm. But I can confirm something that is very interesting because my brother, he lives in Israel. That's where his job is and everything. And I haven't seen him in 12 years. And every single day I would cry because I haven't seen him and I wanted to go to Israel and visit him, but I did not have the money to do so. And I would lie down on certain days and Tommy would ask me, where do you want to go in Israel? And I'd say, Tommy, I can't go to Israel because, unfortunately, I don't have the money. He said, don't worry, you're going to go. You're going to go. Just tell me where you want to go. And I told him exactly where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do and everything. Of course, I didn't get to a lot. But anyways, it turned out about a month later, my dear she's my daughter-in-law, she said to me, you still want to go to Israel? And I said, yes. And she says, well, how much do you think it would cost? And I said, probably about $2,000 if I decide to stay with my brother. And she says, well, it's in my budget. I said, what? I thought she was kidding me. We're at a wedding and this is happening. And she says, no. She says, I know that you want to go and you want to live your dream. And she paid for me. Oh. And I made it to Israel. And I did visit my brother. And Tommy went along for the ride. And I remember my brother worked at Mount Zion. They were starting a new business there where there's a lot of tours and stuff. And I remember I went to the Wailing Wall. And this doesn't really have anything to do with Tommy in that way, but when I went to the wall and I had closed my eyes, I saw a vision of a burning bush or tree. It was a tree. And the tree was not burning, but it was on fire. And I'm saying, what does this have to do with the Wailing Wall? When I was going on my way back, I ran into that tree. That was really amazing. Now, I wanted to tell my brother all about this. And my brother was working at Mount Zion, and I couldn't find my way back. And so my brother, I called him up and said to him, I'm lost. He said, meet me at Kofex. I said, Kofex? He said, yeah. You know where you got your food before? I said, yeah. He says, meet me there. I said, okay. And I thought it's going to take him time to get to me. So Tommy was actually on Harold's, what do you call those there's statues or something, and he was jumping from one to the other, and then he went down the banister, and he comes up to me and says, you know what, he says, one of these days I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to make myself known. I'm like, okay. And then he said, by the way, you better get up to Kofex right now because your brother is turning the corner and he's coming right to you. And I said, I don't think so. It's going to take him time and everything. He said, no, come now. So I'm walking up the stairs and I go to Kofex, and right away my brother turns the corner and there he is.
So, I mean, like, he's giving you insights just to give you that confirmation that he's really there.
Yeah, it gives me the confirmation. There's things that, like I said, he won't tell me, and things that he will definitely tell me. I mean, he told me he used to yell about his manager that basically screwed them.
Yeah, they really got the shaft.
They got the shaft, and he used to yell about that, and it was my fault because I brought it up. And my friend said, stop bringing those things up, and it got better. And he basically, we started having a better friendship together. and more confirmation came my way. So much.
Well, it's like your connection's is getting stronger with them. It's probably as you wrote the book, you know, you're tuning in.
No doubt, no doubt. Oh my gosh. I mean, then we started writing some more stuff, and when I would be depressed, he would give me a spiritual lollipop right on my desk. My place is in my living room. I have a desk here and my computer, and he put a spiritual lollipop on there, and I would take it and I put it to my mouth and I taste it, and it tasted like strawberry. I could taste it. And I called my girlfriend, because she's a very spiritual person. I said to her, "This is really impossible, but I'm tasting a spiritual lollipop." He doesn't call it a sucker, he calls it a lollipop. So it's things like that.
Well, I know I've encountered smells and sometimes taste on investigations that spirits have given to me. You know, it happened. I had a really nasty formaldehyde experience once, but it wasn't a spiritual lollipop.
I've got like a stack of them here on my desk. He went and he sealed them. They do is they dissipate if they don't seal them with the sealant, the spiritual sealant.
It's like their thoughts create their reality, but if they don't pay attention or find a way to say, "I want this to stay," it'll just fade away.
Yeah. Yes. So I've got tons of lollipops on here, and he keeps giving them to me when I'm depressed. He'll put another one on there, and I pick it up and put it in my mouth and taste it. And it's usually strawberry.
When you see it, do you physically see something there, or is it kind of in your mind's eye that it's there?
It's in my mind's eye.
Yeah.
I can actually see what he's wearing in my mind's eye. There was one time I was waking up from a dream, and I saw him sitting there, wide-eyed, and I saw what he was wearing and everything. And my husband happened to be coming down the stairs, and I said, "I just saw Tommy." I saw him sitting there reading. He was reading a book at the time. So what does he do in his spare time? He reads.
That's a good. It makes me feel good about the other side that there's books and there's things like in the story you talk about. He goes to a guitar shop on the other side, and it's like the people that are there, they can physically manifest things that they knew in real life. So they have to find dealers that knew stuff, like knew how to build a guitar.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing with Pete and his computer. He had somebody build a computer for him. He met Steve Jobs.
If you're gonna have somebody build you a computer, there you go.
And he built him an Apple computer. Unbelievable, Macintosh. I'm like, I was floored by that one. Tommy explained to me what happened, that they went into this one place and there was this convention thing there, and there was Steve Jobs, and he was complaining about the computer he had. He had an archaic computer, he said, and he wanted to know how to do something. And then my husband's an IT person, and I told my husband, well, this person has this particular problem with his computer. What can he do?
On the other side. IT help for the other side.
I didn't say on the other side, but I didn't tell him that. Honestly, I didn't tell him. I just said
it's not hell, because I tell you what, IT problems are a nightmare in hell. I don't want to have IT problems on the other side. But in the book, people, I definitely, go check out Wish You Were Here, Badfinger, A Rock Fantasy. In the book, technology even plays a role. Like the angel has a cell phone, even though they don't exist yet in that time, because it's like, Tommy's in the 80s. When this is going on. I thought that was really interesting. We're going to go to our second commercial break here. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Joyce's experiences of the spirit of Tommy and her book, Wish You Were Here, Badfinger, a rock fantasy, when I get back. And we'll open up the phone lines when we come back. Now, there's only 2 of them open tonight. You can call in at 219-230-4444, or you can call in on Skype ID OOJBland00. And I don't know, let me check here for people. Nope, still having technical issues. Tommy's still messing with my radio feed. It's still disconnecting. So
yeah,
come, you know.
He said he would do it.
Hopefully people who are trying to listen came or watching on YouTube or on Facebook. We will figure out that technical problem later. I'm going to have to give up on that radio stream for tonight because it's just not wanting to work. But we will be back after this short commercial break.
Transmission of unknown origin.
Transmission? Out here?
SOS.
Human.
Unknown.
Alien. Certificate X. Exclusive engagement at the Odeon Leicester Square. Now.
Any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated.
I don't want to hear it.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
Paranormal Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Paranormal Magazine and soon, ParanormalMag.com.
Knights of the road, here's your stallion. The car for freedom. The car for hot excitement. The car for a man who is alone against the elements.
The Waibatsu Thunder.
The pride is back. It's the power of a compact.
Looks small, but it's so big.
Fuel injected.
Inject me.
My Batsu Thunder. On the toll road of life, you have to pay to prove you can. Live the emotion of an individual.
Thunder.
The awesome power of nature distilled into one vehicle.
Wow.
Because after you get struck by lightning, there's thunder.
The Waibatsu Thunder.
When Alex Gardner is asleep, he has an extraordinary gift. The government wants it, the scientists want it, but to keep it may cost him his life. It might be better if Alex didn't sleep at all, but he cannot resist entering the dreamscape. Can you? See Dreamscape in the West End and all over London now. Certificate 15. It takes an extraordinary adventurer to enter the Dreamscape.
This is an APAC studio presentation.
Hey kids, tired of running away from home? Then getting lost and wrapping your big wheel around a cow? Then having no one to turn to other than that weirdo in the van with the dark tinted windows? Or his friend, your creepy Uncle John? Well, worry no more with new OnStar for Kids. Now you can run away in style with an OnStar for Kids kit installed in your big wheel, tricycle, or cute little smart car. Yes, just in time for Christmas, OnStar for Kids. So the next time you're on your way to Granny's house, or Weekend Dad's pathetic little bachelor pad, and you run over a homeless person in your toboggan, OnStar for Kids will clean up the mess, hide the hobo body, and get you there in time for nappies.
This is OnStar. Do you need someone to kiss your boo-boo?
This has been a presentation from Tim Morgan's APAC Studio. For more almost professional amateur comic studio content, visit the APAC YouTube channel. Search APAC 2002. That's APAC 2002 on YouTube.
Edgar Allan Poe wrote Spirits of the Dead with a pen dipped in warm blood. You will see the ultimate in terror with this important all-star cast. Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda in Edgar Allan Poe's Spirits of the Dead. Only Poe's demented genius could bring to the screen such horror and evil. Spirits of the Dead stars Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda. Directed by three masters of the cinema, Federico Fellini, Louis Malle, and Roger Vadim. Spirits of the Dead is an adventure in terror beyond your wildest nightmares. Spirits of the Dead in color is rated R.
Seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain. Time to die.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, we're talking to our guest, Joyce Isaacson, author of Wish You Were Here, Badfinger, a Rock Fantasy. Joyce has been experiencing communications with the spirit of Tommy Evans from Badfinger. He's given her some insights to what it might be like on the other side. And I've been enjoying her book. To me, just the idea what, different levels in heaven, spiritual currency that you have to have, the technology on the other side, just different things. You wonder what it is like. I mean, do you just sit there and do nothing in heaven? I mean, I always thought if paradise is perfect, would it be boring? These are just things since my childhood, I've wondered and imagined about what the other side would be like. And that's why I've been thoroughly enjoying her book, because it gives you kind of like a picture or an idea of what it might be like over there. So let's go ahead and get back to our guest. Well, 1 second though, you can call in tonight. There's two of the phone lines are open. You can call in at 219-230-4444. You can also call in at Skype ID OOJBland00. Those are two of the ways to call in. The other two ways are not available. I've been trying to get the stream running on our radio stream. We think Tommy might have something to do with it going down, but we'll try to figure that out. Hopefully we'll have it fixed by the next show. I think I have it running right now, but it'll probably go down again. So if you're listening, it might not stay. Come check us out on Facebook. Midwest Paranormal presents Paranormal Soup, or you can watch us on YouTube, because I don't know how long this radio stream is going to keep going. It keeps shutting down. All right, guys, let's get back to our guest. You still there with me, Joyce?
Back? Yeah, I'm sure there.
We're back.
Just giving him a high five here. He says I'm doing a good job, so.
All right. Tell him to stop messing with my radio stream.
He's so close by, It's just. It might be because of I'm wearing headphones, and I have a feeling that it has something to do with it. He's probably messing with the headphone things or something.
I don't know. Somehow he's gotten into my stream. I don't know. It could just be technical because it's a new stream. I'm figuring it all out, so it could be some technical issue I don't know about, and I'll be turning to my good friend Ira. If you're listening, I'll be calling you. Ira's helping out. And there goes the stream. I just watched it again go. All right, I'm gonna have to give up on that for the night. Dang. New stuff. That's what we're trying to do here, and sometimes it just doesn't want to cooperate.
I've seen lights blink on and off, and there was nothing, I've seen a light go on, and it wasn't even plugged in.
I heard you mention earlier you saw your lights blinking while we're doing this interview.
Well, the light turned off, but I've had a thing where my husband was sitting at the table, and I was holding the light, and it wasn't plugged in, and it lit up.
Yeah.
or something like that. That was really strange.
We've had, Joyce, like I said before the show when we were talking to you, you're talking to the right people. We are the people of strange. We do these shows. We open ourselves up to spirit communication. We've had after doing a show, a fire alarm. My fire alarm went off at 3 a.m. in the morning, and then it went off at Rob's house. I think Jamie, they had an alarm go off the same night. All of our alarms were off. Yeah. So spirits can mess with stuff.
I don't think he's traveling. That's the thing. He's been with me for a while, and I'll explain why. What happened was I came down with bronchitis sinusitis. I went to the doctor, and I'm waiting there for the doctor to come in. Tommy's like, "Oh, this doctor's taking too long." He's pacing back and forth. He says, "I'm going to go see what's going on with the doctor." So he goes out and then comes back and says he's coming in 5 minutes. So I'm looking at my watch. 5 minutes later, the doctor arrives. And then the doctor says to me, "Okay, I'm putting you on an antibiotic, but you can't take your cholesterol medicine." I'm like, "What would happen if I take it?" He says, "You'll die." I'm like, "What?"
What?
Yeah. He said it was a bad combination together. He said it would kill me.
Which happens.
And I was sick. I was really, really sick, and I wasn't thinking, and I came home, and all of a sudden, I went to go reach for it, and Tommy took my hand, and he moved it away and said, "No, you don't touch it."
Oh, wow.
Because, it's automatic for me.
Yeah.
It's automatic for me to touch my cholesterol medicine. He says, "No, no, no, you don't touch it." And he moved my hand. And he said, he decided he said, "I'm going to stay with you." And I could not talk to anybody outside because I had bronchitis, and I was speechless, totally, for a month. And he basically kind of nursed me and stuff like that. He would say, "Okay, what's good for you? You have to take tea. You have to have your chicken soup." And
it sounds like it saves your life. I mean, you're dealing with life or death stuff, telling you not to take your cholesterol medicine when your doctor's telling you to take it.
Not to take it.
Yeah, that's a leap of faith for you. You have to decide, is this, I'm really talking to Tommy, he's real to me, he's telling me not to do it, my doctor's telling me to do it. No,
my doctor's telling me not to do it.
Oh, your doctor was telling you not to do it. Okay.
So he's saying if you do it, you'll die.
Oh, I gotcha.
That's what my doctor was saying.
So Tommy was just reminding you of what the doctor said.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He was reminding me all the time because I was ready to take it, and he moved my hand away. I remember that. And I remember taking the medicine for the first time, and it was actually making me feel really woozy, and I thought I was going to just pass out. It was so bad. And I remember Tommy decided to make a joke. And I don't remember what the joke was, but it made me laugh so hard, and my ribs were bruised at the time. They were so bruised, and I was in so much pain. And I said to Tommy, I said, "Don't ever do that again when I'm this sick." And he never did it again, honestly. He never cracked a joke until I was well. But he cracks a joke every so often. He's done that to me.
Have you been able to
He'll
find...
say something.
I was going to say, have you been able to find, like interviews of him, or like talk to people to find out personality-wise what he was like?
Well, when I first met him, I wasn't sure about his personality, honestly, because he was very, I would say in desperation, he reached out to me to begin with. And, and then all of a sudden he was very much about the Polly the Polly situation. And I didn't want to keep bringing that up with him. But I found out through writing and everything and what he was telling me, I learned about his personality through friends that knew him. That's how I found out that I was on the right track. Finding out, I'm not going to name the names because I'm sure that, but one was a woman, another one was a guy, And then there was one other person, and it's like, but Tommy's got this thing because he's using bloody a lot. And he didn't really use bloody in his life at much. That's more of a lower class kind of talk.
Yeah.
But because it's British, and he loved Monty Python, I found out. We wrote Monty Python in, and then I found out later on he really loved Monty Python. And the bloody came out from there.
Oh, yeah.
So there was some inside jokes as well that he has. Like the thing where he needles Gabriel about the mail room. He's doing the informational center, and he calls it the mail room.
Gabriel's like, no, well, that's what you want to call it.
There's certain things like that, like, oh, you have your antennas up today, your spiritual antennas up and things like that. That's Tommy. Those are things Tommy put down. He said, okay, write this in. I'm like, okay. And I giggle and laugh, and I say, don't go on this side because you're going to screw with my computer. Because he used to do that, and my computer would go down right away or freeze up.
Yeah,
and
I had to give up on the
Tommy,
radio stream. He really got that tonight. If that was killed it.
Well, he said he was gonna do something. That's
Why
what
they
he
always gotta
said,
mess with technology? My friend Heather Wade that was on, she did her show out of Art Bell, who was a radio host for a long time, the father of paranormal radio, and technical weird stuff would happen, and it'd be like, oh, that's Art. But why would Art mess with the show? But if that's what they can do, to let you know they're there, I guess, and he was a practical joker in life, that's what he would do.
Yeah, he would needle and things and stuff like that. He's gotten my goat, so to speak, or taken my legs, so to speak, by saying certain things, and then Pete would have to tell me, no, this isn't true. I'm like, okay, he's got me again on this certain things. But for the most part, he's been really very nice. He makes me laugh. He can be a mother hen sometimes. He doesn't. I always think sometimes that he's angry with me with something or other. He says, no, I'm not angry with you, but I'm concerned. If I didn't care about you, I wouldn't be concerned about certain things. And I know he's just recently, he said, okay, so you can apologize to God for this. Once you apologize to God, I won't be disappointed anymore. I'm like, oh, okay. So I apologized to God. I said, okay, then we're fine. I'm like, okay, not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Now, with
I would like to...
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was
going to say,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that if people are interested in the book, they can actually get the book from me. All they have to do is put down my email, which is SharonJ0023@yahoo.com, and put down in the title line, I guess it's called book. And I will get that. And you would get the paperback with the my autograph in it. And you would get my rock dreams, which are actually my drawings from 1979 to 2015, and they're pretty good drawings. I've showed them to several people, and they really like them. And so I would give them that, and I also would give them. There's a segment that's not in the book, and they would get that, and they would get the blurb, which started the whole thing. It has not been touched. Period.
Now, this story is continuing, like, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I have a feeling, I haven't finished the book, but I have a feeling there's a lot more even after this book, like, that you have to tell.
Oh, yeah. Yes, there is. Definitely. There'll be a lot more.
So there will be, like, a part 2?
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I haven't got to finish. I'm like 200 pages in, but one of the things I love too, I mentioned before the break, is that the Angel had like future technology. You know, he tells Tommy,
Yes.
"Oh yeah, this is stuff you humans don't have yet." But he's like watching videos. Like Tommy comes in and the angel's sitting in his kitchen watching videos on his phone. It seems like when Tommy freaks out, the angel's like, "Here, watch my phone," like a parent would do with a child with a tablet. Like, stop freaking out. Here, watch something. Shut up.
Yeah.
You know.
No, the angel thing, Tommy said that he didn't really have an angel guide or anything like that for a very long time. But we decided that Gabrielle should be in there for a while.
To help kind of
Definitely.
explain things, probably.
Oh, yeah.
But he's saying that when he first crossed, he was kind of alone to figure it out all out on his own.
Yeah. Yeah, the angel gave him a week to figure it out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You know, I wonder, I mean, you know, my grandmother passed from Alzheimer's, you know. My biggest worry was like, you know, for her going to the other side, how's that transition? You know, she died very confused. You know, how that person transitions over.
I think sometimes it depends on how worldly that person was. If that person was a worldly person, their transition is harder than somebody that's not as more spiritual, honestly. That's what I believe.
Now, one of the things I wondered too is like, you know, Tommy in the story, you know, he ends up on what they call level 5, and he ends up with like $1 million in spiritual money or something like that. You know, what were the conditions that got him there, like, and have like the spiritual money? What are the things that play in life into that?
There were certain things that he believed in and that he did, and he was a very generous person in life. He really was. And he did do this benefit concert as well. And he's the type of person that would give you the shirt off his back. That's the kind of person he was. I've learned this from this woman in England who knew him. And I really believe that he did have some spirituality to him. And I think it also helped him to get to a higher level, like I said, because he was also cremated, you know, and it wasn't something that he chose to do.
Right. So what's the meaning of that too? Because like, you know, certain religions are against cremation. You know, and
exactly.
You know, so what's the effects of cremation?
Well, usually when a person wants to be cremated, this is what I've learned. It means it's like taking $1 million that God gives you and throwing it in the garbage. That's what it's like, because your body is sacred.
Oh, see, I'm one of those people that's like, go ahead and cremate me. I am.
To each his own, I
so
guess.
I'd be pissed. I would be, if I did that though, I'd be like pissing away $1 million, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, I will definitely rethink that concept.
Yeah.
Because in the book, I'm like,
Definitely, Tommy did not even have any idea in the book that he, you know, and he had no idea in real life that he was going to be cremated either. So, I don't know. This is what my belief is. Also, I've tried to stop cremations myself.
See, to me, I always thought, well, it's my body is not me anymore. It's, you know, it's just a piece of rotting flesh. You can just toss that in the fire, I guess. And I don't know. Never thought about it like that. You know, I've always, I believe Catholic religion, you know, they're against cremation.
Yeah.
You know, and I always wondered that. You know, I mean, I'm a big fan of Supernatural, and in that, you know, when they want to get rid of a spirit.
Oh, I love Supernatural.
Oh, Joyce, my firstborn son's name is Dean. If that tells you how much I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so, but you know, they burn and salt the bones, you know, and the spirit goes up in flames. I'm like, yeah, I might not want to get cremated.
Well, that's Supernatural. That's their
take. That's what I love about all of it, though.
Exactly.
Everybody has different takes. We don't know.
Yeah.
When it comes down to, you're only getting pieces of information from Tommy, so you don't have the full picture.
Right.
We all of us are in question, or always are going to be what the other side is, and that you know, a lot of times with the spirits, when they seem to get quiet on that spirit box, is when we're really trying to dig in to like get them to respond and tell us something more about what the other side is.
That would be nice. I don't know if he's going to do this or not.
Yeah, we can try
I
it
know he's
later.
messing around.
What?
Or
ahead,
they
Jamie.
blast us with a big, loud sound all of a sudden. It's like,
Yeah.
nah.
Like the horns, like it's coming in or something. I don't know.
I think he's just messing around with your thing.
Well, he's done. Don't mess around with the stream because right now it's probably playing a rerun. I hope on there or something because I had to just stop it. It was just not working. I thought it worked last week. I did have an issue last week after the stream, or the stream shut down after we got done. But I thought it streamed the whole time. I don't know. Nobody complained that it didn't. Maybe nobody was listening on the stream. Most people come to watch, so it's all right. It's all right. But Tommy, don't mess with my equipment. It's not the first time. I swear we've had spirits mess with stuff on here. I mean, I mentioned Heather Wade before. We were off air one night. The only celebrity spirit that I might have ever had contact with might have been Art Bell, because I was talking with her and she talked about how he would, she'd be on the phone with people and something would happen at that person's house. And we were just sitting here, all of us talking, me, Jamie, Rob, and Heather, and I heard footsteps like boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, my kids and wife are passed out, I think, or I'm in trouble, and my wife's mad I'm up. And I said, I got to go. And I went upstairs, and everybody had been passed out. Nobody got up. And Heather told me later, she's like, that kind of stuff happens when I'm on the phone with people. I'm like, well, maybe it's his way of letting you know you're not crazy. You're not the only one experiencing that stuff, because there was definitely somebody walking in my house. I'm like, great, you saw how messy my house was. But, I never met the man in my life, so.
Well, with my husband, like I said, when that piece of that envelope took off the way it did, it made me feel better because I'm trying to tell him, I'm telling you the truth, this is happening,
You need that kind of validation. You do need that for yourself,
I do. I mean, he's great. And Tommy's great at telling me when my husband's coming in the house from someplace. He always tells me, he'll say, well, in 30 minutes or less, your husband will come in. You should meet him at the door. And he says, okay. So I go to the door, and Tommy's already all the way down the street. And he's like, I don't know, he's like doing something with his hands, like he's coming. And I'm like, okay. And then my husband comes, and there he is. I'm like, I mean, that's just amazing to me.
I think I think a lot of people are experiencing that, Joyce. They just don't know it's spirit telling them.
Yeah,
I really think that.
So. I really think it's God talking to us in many ways. It's funny. I just heard he go off and the door go nuts, but that's okay. That's something different.
He's messing.
That's nothing with. I don't think he's messing.
No.
No, not that. But I think it's really God talking to us in different ways. We just have to listen to what he's saying.
I totally believe that. Like I said, I don't belong to any one religion or of any kind, and I don't have any set belief, but I do believe in a God, and I do believe God talks to me in many different ways and synchronicities,
And
especially.
where I always bring up the intuition, that we all have this thing called an intuition, but it's not like a removable part. You don't go get it fixed, but we all know we have one. And I think it's almost like a spirit antenna or an angel antenna, or messengers communicate to us through that antenna, and they communicate through God or universe or whatever your belief of God is.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, you were the first person Tommy kind of like discovered on Earth, is what I'm taking. Like when you decided to soul surf. They talk about the dangers of it in the book. Like it's like the angel tells Tommy you should probably stay away from that. It's dangerous. What are some of the dangers to the spirits for this soul surfing? Like this connection with people.
I think some of the dangers are that you actually forget about what your purpose really is, even in heaven, of wanting to move up further to a higher level. Because even in each level, there's higher levels until you reach, the next level. You can go to the highest level, like level 7, and you can keep going up levels. within your level and go higher. But I think what happens is that they just sort of, they forget, what they're supposed to be doing to reach a higher level if they soul surf and they get corrupted. I think that's what I was trying to convey.
What my imagination goes with that is like, I guess would be the danger is because my experiences with spirit, like the moment, my contacts with ghosts and spirits, and what I felt like I channeled a little bit is that there's a mixing of the two. Your personality with them, they could lose themselves.
That's possible. It sounds very possible.
And something else that you mentioned in the book too is like one of the consequences was what was it, the pit, or I mean I don't know if it was like really hell.
The spirit pit for possession.
Yeah, for possession.
Yeah.
What was that about? I mean, is that hell that they're talking about, or?
It's the spirit pit. Basically, is a place where it's a void. There's nothing. It's like being in limbo, totally, and you can't get out of it. But hell is another. It's purgatory. Is a place where you have emotional hell is
like
what they're going through.
Like a dimensional void.
Yeah, a dimensional void, right?
What I pictured in the book when you talk about the spirit pit or whatever, I just remember again movie references that come up to me is like Beetlejuice when they open up a doorway and there's like these ghosts like floating by like horrid and screaming and are like, oh, that's what happens to the exorcised souls, And I'm like, that's what came to mind when you mentioned the spirit pit.
Yeah. I believe that people, unfortunately, that are cremated or that want to be cremated also end up in limbo.
Oh, great.
They also end up. So there's, I was actually trying to reach somebody who is actually my husband's cousin, and usually I've dealt with others before. This is not my first. Tommy's not my first. He's not.
Yeah, you mentioned this.
I dealt with others. Yes, and I thought she would reach me because usually when somebody passes away in my husband's family, they reach me.
Obviously, you're open to it.
Not for a long time. I'm open. I'm open to it, but I protect myself too. I learned how to protect myself.
That's a good thing.
From it. Yeah. Anybody tells me to go against something I believe in, they're out of here. That's how it is. They can't tell me differently.
Right.
And what happened was with my husband's cousin, I was trying to reach out to her, so to speak, and I couldn't get anything. And my husband says, I think there's a reason for this. And some days have gone by, and I said, I think she's in limbo. And then we find out she was cremated. So she couldn't reach out. Now
I'm gonna have to have a conversation with my wife after this show. Remember how I said I wanted to be cremated? I might have second thoughts on that.
Yeah.
I have wondered that. I have wondered if there's a consequence to cremation.
There is a consequence to cremation, and I was told this through some very spiritual people. And I because I was feeling very alone with this, seriously alone. And I had to reach out to somebody, and I didn't explain to them that was happening to me. I just sort of explained that it was happening to somebody, and they were saying, okay, this is the situation about cremation, and this is the situation about this and the spiritual money. And I said, wow, this is really interesting. I honestly thought I was pretty much alone, to tell you the truth.
Well, when it comes to spiritual money, I mean, you just think back to so many different cultures and their burial rituals. They believed in it. They filled kings' tombs with treasures to take with them to the other side.
Well, that's physical money.
Well, but the belief is
Yeah.
that it would somehow
That would
relate to the other side.
to the spiritual. Yeah,
Like why
I
they would put
understand what you're
coins in
saying.
the eyes of the dead across the river Styx to pay the toll.
Right.
So a lot of cultures believe there was some kind of form of currency on the other side. So I thought that one of the first things in the first part of that your book, when he gets in, he's like, "Oh, you have $1 million in spiritual gold." That's what the first things that
Yeah.
came to mind is how that does. You see that a lot in ancient cultures and their burial rituals, that people put belongings and treasures with, not just the pharaohs of Egypt. I mean, it's throughout many cultures. They believe that.
I didn't know that. When I wrote it, I had no idea. I mean, I talked to somebody that was spiritual, and they told me, yeah, there's definitely spiritual money. But I put it in the book before I actually asked the question. I'm like, oh, okay.
It makes you wonder too. I mean, how for celebrities, my big theory on what happens to the other side, and for us too, is I'm a big proponent of the idea of collective conscious and how it affects reality, and how we all might picture one celebrity, or how that might affect them after they pass on to the other side. Because there's a famous tale of a town in God, I always forget where this was. It was in Europe somewhere, where after Liberace died. I guess this town was a big Liberace fan town. I don't know, but Liberace appeared in the sky playing on his piano, and to masses of people after he died. This is actual. Look it up. There's actual witnesses to this. It's like, how do we? Does that give do celebrities get some kind of certain spiritual power just by being more known by our collective conscious thought? It's just something I've always wondered.
I don't see that in that way. I mean, I think they have a gift, but like everybody has a gift. It just depends on, like my gift is writing, okay, and drawing. But I have other gifts as well. And some people have gifts that, other people don't have. But it doesn't make them, I don't think it makes them different in that way.
Well, one of the things I
Honestly.
thought is, I mean, if they're, you talked about like thought bubbles and stuff in the book.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, if there's so many people thinking about a celebrity who's passed, or something,
Yeah.
Unlike a normal person's past only has their family members think about a celebrity past, they got millions of people, thought bubbles, thinking about them.
Yeah.
How does that affect them?
Yeah.
I just wondered. One of the funny parts in the book I have to mention is when Elvis Presley, I think it was the spiritual phone or something like that, tries to order.
It was a thought. I think it was a thought
bubble. Yeah, Elvis Presley gets the wrong number or gets the wrong thing and tries to order a sandwich. So funny.
I've always personally believed that the more that we talk about people and remember them and have, joyful memories and laugh, it almost gives life to their spirit, even though, I believe their spirit is alive. I think it adds to it. So I think in something like that, it would amplify it under,
Well, there's traditions in that too, and like giving prayers for the dead or remember the dead. There's another movie references a recent one. My kids were watching. I got sucked into it because why? It had to do about the afterlife. It was Coco, I think it's called, and there the spirit in the concept of that, the spirits start to like become more skeleton or fall apart. The more people on Earth forget about them. If they have any ancestors remembering them, they start to fade away.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really happens.
No, but I thought it was it's an interesting.
Happen.
There's a lot of concepts.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, but it's it's an interesting concept. It's how much here on Earth our thoughts and all that affect the spirits on the other side.
Well, you're never supposed to say something bad about a spirit.
Never speak ill of the dead.
Right. Never speak ill of the dead. That's something that I was taught. And when you're at the cemetery, you're not supposed to step on the grave at all.
Right.
That's another thing I learned when I was a child. So there's respect for them. There's people, most people you respect, but I wouldn't respect somebody like Hitler. Okay.
That's a big question.
I would not.
Some people are like, well, I hope there's not a hell, and I hope it's just all good. But I'm like, yeah, but you look at somebody like Hitler or Ted Bundy, who we were just talking about at the beginning of the show.
Or Gacy.
Yeah, you hope there is a hell for those people.
Yeah,
you really do.
And there is.
Yeah, I really, I hate to say it. I'd love to think that we all have some kind of redemption. But there's some things people do that there's no redemption,
Exactly.
There's just no redemption from that. We do have a phone call on the line. I think we got Zach on the line. How you doing tonight, Zach?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for calling in. You got a question for our guest?
I do. Hey, Joyce. Very nice to meet you.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Nice to meet you.
I wanted to go back to in your book you mentioned the 4 levels in the afterlife. My question to you is, based on the knowledge that you have gained, what are some similarities and differences in the 4 levels of heaven that you describe in your book versus...
Well, there's actually 5. There's 5 levels.
There's more than 5, actually. I mean, there's like
There's 6 levels. There's 7 levels of heaven, but
Yeah.
he doesn't know the 7th level, but he does find out about the 6th level. Okay, so the difference is... All right, so the first level basically are buildings. Okay, it's like a regular New York kind of thing, because that's how they can understand. The second level becomes mansions. They understand more, so they need less. And then the third level and the third level, I think, are they're houses, but they're like big Georgian houses. And then the 4th and 5th level are very similar to each other. There's a little bit of a difference, but I don't really go into that. But it's more like a bungalow and ranches and things like that. So, but the 6th level, and I don't know if I should be talking about the 6th level, but in the 6th level, it's more like living in a trailer. Tommy calls it a cardboard box, and he does not want to live in a cardboard box.
But it seems like that's the each level they have less and less stuff.
They have less and less until you get to the 7th level.
Okay, and then how would that differentiate between what Dante described in his version of heaven over in the Divine Comedy?
Actually, I've never read that, Dante, honestly. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, there's different levels of heaven that he described. Like the first level there'd be some saints that would be over there, and gradually each level would be ascending closer to God.
Definitely there's descent. Yes, they're definitely, the higher up you go, the more you understand God. The higher up. So you do have some knowledge of God on the first level, and on the second level you have more, and it keeps going up higher and higher until you reach that epiphany, I guess they call it, and God does actually speak to you on that 7th level. So you hear his voice. It's really cool that you can go up levels, and actually it's like down here, it's like we're so muddled with our troubles and things, in our everyday life that
our addictions.
We don't see. Yeah, we don't see the beauty of God. Even a blade of grass. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, a flower. I mean, everywhere we look, God is there. We just have to find him. That's how it is.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
Right. No, that definitely does make sense. So then my second question then would be, when you talk about spiritual money, how is that spiritual money valued? Because like in the U.S. Constitution, it says that any kind of money needs to be backed up by gold and silver. Now, today, I mean, we have dollar bills that are part of a fiat money system. They're backed up by nothing. It's printed by a private
I
bank.
know.
So what is the spirit money backed by?
Okay, I didn't put that in there, but I know that he's got gold coins. Each dollar is a gold coin. So I'm not sure how that actually works up there, but I do know that it says that if you use up your gold coins, you're going to have to wait for the next level, or get a position in heaven to get more gold.
You have to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
That's depressing. That doesn't seem like heaven at all. At all. They'll tell me, hey, here's heaven, and you need to apply for a job.
The funny thing is, he doesn't really know if that's true. Tommy doesn't know if that's really true about getting a job.
But seems like people had jobs there. In the book, people had jobs. Somebody was working at a store, you know, somebody's doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, they do what they want to do, what they did in their life. If they enjoy doing something special in their life, they do it in heaven.
Oh, I'd love to have a talk show in heaven. That'd be awesome.
So you have a talk show in heaven, you know? If you play guitar, you can play guitar in heaven. If you're a painter, you can paint in heaven. I mean, if you want to skateboard, you can skateboard all over in heaven. I mean, I had a girlfriend who she flew all over heaven. She was a good girlfriend of mine, and she said to me, when I die, she says, I'm always going to be with you. And I said, don't say that, because I don't want you to die. And she did die. And I remember before she died, she said she wanted to actually take an RV and go all across the U.S. with it. And she was with me until she was buried, believe it or not. And when she was buried, I didn't see her for a whole year. And she said to me, well, she said, you know, I got my wish, I got my dream. I said, what did you do? You know, I didn't ask, but I put it into a statement, and she said, I went through all the levels of heaven, and she said, I visited everything, and it took me a whole year to do it. I'm like, wow. And then I didn't hear from her again for a long time. Because there was the things she wouldn't tell me. She wouldn't tell me about this, you know, the seventh level and things like that. And I just remember that she wanted me to get in touch with somebody from a certain senior center that was handling her pills. And she said, please tell the person who handles my pills that I'm very thankful that they handled them for me. And I didn't even know that she was doing this with this person. So I reached the person, I told her, and she's like, oh my gosh. She said, you were talking to, her name was Gail. I'll never forget that. I haven't talked to her since after that. But the spiritual money, yeah. But the spiritual money is, you know, like I said, the gold coins, it's like, he says, either, you know, people have to, I think it mentions in the book that people have to pray very, very hard, or you have to wait to the next level to get,
it seemed like you were getting at that they, you know, that, yeah, they could, humans on Earth could do something, though, to help them get money. That's just the part I found really interesting.
Go to, get higher levels and stuff like that, and then can go to jump to the next level as well.
One of the best ways I've seen other investigators or experimenters, researchers that experiment in the spirit box stuff get responses is like, do you want us to pray for you? And then the spirits really seem to start getting messages across and saying, help us a lot.
Yeah, but they have to be willing to want to jump to the next level as well.
Yeah,
if
give
they're
up
not
their
ready,
stuff.
If they're not ready to do it, they won't. That's the bottom line. When they're ready to go, then they'll go. That's weird.
To me, the hell would be the getting to heaven and finding out I had to get a job.
Well,
like,
that's
really?
actually that's just Gabriel and his little humor.
Let's hope. Let's hope. Well, thank you, Zach, for calling in. Oh, I think we lost our connection with him. That's what that sound is. She's gonna say
Okay,
goodbye.
we lost the connection.
Yeah.
Oh,
He has sometimes have connection
Yeah.
problems, but doesn't usually ever just disconnect like that. Oh, there you are. You there? You there, Zach?
Zach?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you
Okay,
disconnected for a
yeah.
minute. But yeah, I was
Yeah.
saying thanks for calling in, man. Some great questions tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. All right, Joyce, thank you so much for answering my questions. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
All right, have a good night, everybody.
You too, Zach.
Take care, Zach.
Again, people, you can call in at 219-230-4444 or on the Skype ID OOJBland00. One thing is, I saw Rob's camera off. Are you still there, Rob? He might have stepped away for a minute. He might.
Yep, I'm still here.
Hey, are you able to, if we come back after the second commercial break, to fire up the spirit box?
Yeah, we can do that.
Are you up for that, Joyce? The last half hour after the commercial break? You want to see?
Yeah, we'll see.
If he's messing with
I mean-
electronics, we can see. No promises. And I'll tell you what, Joyce. If we get anything, sometimes it's on playback. We'll find it on the playback because the stuff goes by quick. So we'll see. We'll see after the last commercial break, last half hour. We might give it a 5 or 10 minute run and see what happens. I'm interested. After you talk about all the stuff they manifest and do,
Yeah.
you never know.
You
never know.
You never know. I think he's been messing around already.
I these concepts, like I said, my brain goes to all the fiction and stuff I have because it's the only thing you have. Some people have their definite beliefs of what heaven is through their religion. I'd never had that. I have whatever my imagination wonders what it's like on the other side. But one of the other shows I love that deals with the other side is called A Good Place. And I think they're on their third season. And, there the characters get there and I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give it away for people because there's a big twist in that show. They get there and they find out they're in heaven because they had all this merits and there was like this score of all these good deeds they did. Of course, the main character is not supposed to be there. They got the wrong person. She was not a good person. Kristen Stewart, or was that the actress's name? It's a good show. People should check it out. But there's only two levels. It's either you made enough merits to make it into heaven, which all these people are like super did great charity work and everything that are there in heaven, and then everybody else goes to hell, and it's like a horrible place. That's all you know. It's just a horrible place. I'm like, man, that would be really crummy.
Yeah, well, I asked Tommy without asking him if he knowed anybody that went to hell, know, and he said to me he didn't. He's heard it's a bad place, but he's never experienced it in himself or anything like that. Which is good.
I hope it's a place for people that were just really, really, really bad.
Bad. Yeah.
Because people have their shortcomings and people make mistakes and people can do bad things. But I do believe in redemption for people. I do believe people can change. I do believe I believe in forgiveness. I think that's what Jesus was trying to teach people, is to look for forgiveness and forgiveness of your own sins. We're not perfect.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I would believe that there is definitely that some people do burn for a little while and then they go to their place. There are people that, unfortunately that probably happens to.
One of the things, too, I found interesting in the story, too, is that when Tommy comes down to the lower levels, and especially when he comes down to Earth, he has his habits want to come back, like smoking. And physical habits of like drinking and stuff like that come back. I've heard mediums say one of the reasons if they're channeling or whatever, they feel pain from the spirit is the spirit's reliving it too, because they were up on a higher level, but coming down to communicate, they start to feel their ailments and stuff.
Yeah, he was feeling his addiction and stuff like that. and that's why he would smoke. He would smoke outside. I wouldn't let him in the house and smoke. My son could smell smoke from.
I was
We
going to
had
ask
another
that.
one.
I was going to
Yeah,
ask
we
if you
had
guys smelled
another one
cigarette
that
smoke.
smoked. My son did. We had one in the house, and he was smoking, and I knew it. And my son came from the room and said, "Mom, I smell smoke." I went into the other room, and there he was smoking the cigarette. And I said, "Well, that's the
So
reason."
many people experience that, Joyce. So many people. Like,
I know.
there's no way nobody smokes in this household, but they smell smoke. And they knew a loved one or a family member, or whatever, that smoked, and it's like they know it's them. You know.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
my old house, my old house, we'd be sitting there, and I'd smell cigarette smoke just out of the just like it would hit you, and every time followed up by cigarette smoke would be perfume right after that. And then it'd just be gone. Weird.
Well, we had a situation with a soul that actually was sort of a trickster, we called him. We were eating our dinner, and all of a sudden we smelled something so foul, and I thought it came from the kitchen, and the garbage can was open, and it wasn't. And I started following the smell, and it was actually in between the arch between the living room and the dining room. We say it's the square, because I had a ghost hunter come in my house, and he said I had a portal in my house.
That's what I was thinking when you're saying that.
And all of a sudden I smelled it right there, and I couldn't believe this. The soul put his head right in through the window, and he was snickering. And I said, "I know." I said, "That's a spirit bomb."
Like a
oh my
stink
gosh,
bomb?
it's a stink bomb. But
I've had those experiences of that foul smell that can't explain. Yeah.
And my husband smelled it. My son smelled it, and I said, "I'm going to find your stash if you ever do that again."
Well, they say
And
demonic
it
can
never
smell like
happened
that. And that gets me to my point.
Like sulfur, right?
Yeah.
Sulfur, yeah. Well,
smelled like, yeah.
Does Tommy
This
mention?
was a long, long time ago.
Does Tommy mention anything about the demonic, like the evil spirits or anything like that?
Oh, we had a soul coming that was looking for another soul one time, and this soul came back from when I used to live in Albany Park, and I lived in a one-bedroom apartment with my family. There was a family of 4 in a one-bedroom apartment, and this soul would tap you on the shoulder, and then you say to I said to my brother, "Did you just tap me?" He said, "No." And then he gets tapped. And it was a prankster, because he picked up my cat, and he basically threw my cat across the room. I saw the cat fly.
Oh, God. Poor cat.
And this particular soul came looking for another soul, and Tommy kicked him out. He kicked him right out. He took him right out the door, right out the window, and threw him out on the curb.
I believe they can do that. I believe that's how I got saved from what I call a shadow person experience, I think, because my great-grandfather came through. I didn't even know who he was when it happened, but kicked it out after it terrorized me and attacked me. Yeah, that's exactly what I think it did. Give me 1 second here, Joyce. We have somebody on the phone line here. Who do we have on the phone line?
Good evening, Jason. It's Mike in Montana.
Hey, Mike. Can you hold on for after the commercial break?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, we'll bring you back after the commercial break. We're going to go to commercial break, and we'll bring Mike on Montana on the line. When we come back, too, we're going to try a little bit maybe of the spirit box and see if we can get Tommy to come through. It's just too tempting. So
I don't know if he can.
We never know. We never know.
I don't know if he will.
No promises, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
We'll see what happens.
We'll be back.
My cat just jumped me. Down, kitty. Kitty down.
Cat's ready for the commercial break. All right, guys. We'll be back after this short commercial break.
Don't be alarmed. It's only a laser sword fight. Don't be scared. It's only the Death Star destroying another world. Relax. It's only a movie, and it's all for fun. Director George Lucas and 20th Century Fox present Star Wars. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
At Lombank, we're with you every step of the way.
We sell your dreams.
We're not a soulless, monolithic institution.
We are, but we use nostalgic imagery.
It's walking into your dream home.
You can't really afford it. We'll lend you the money anyway.
It's kids graduating from college.
With pointless degrees riddled with debt.
It's happy picnics on the beach.
There's sewage in the water.
Family portraits with everyone dressed the same.
You look like twats.
Canoeing in the lake.
By the power station.
Catching fireflies in a jar.
And watching them die.
Cheering at high school football games.
The kids are giving each other brain damage.
These are the things our lives are made of.
Interest rates only 33.4%.
Lombank. We're the American bank that truly, more or less, cares.
About profits.
Of the second kind, physical evidence of a UFO. Close encounters of the third kind, contact. From Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws, comes one of the most ambitious and unusual films ever made. And what you will see has never been seen before. It's a cosmic mystery crossing what many scientists believe will be the next threshold of human experience. It is called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It begins in an Indiana town and leads to one inescapable conclusion. We are not alone. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Certificate A. Now showing at the Odeon, Leicester Square.
The Science of Crime is back for another season.
The cigarette was hotboxed. He was nervous about something. His orthopedic surgeon records indicate
that he was a deaf woman who plays guitar. Mermaids, multiple wives, threesomes. This is serious.
They're not detectives or scientists, but they act like they are. They're crime scene cops that take matters into their own hands. These guys are so smart, they never have to look anything up.
he was neurotic, with a love of puppies and experimental cooking.
I knew it. It's a partial lesion caused by light to medium tearing of the thoraxal cortex. Obviously, you can tell at a glance by the fingerprint on the mustard bottle. Andrews, my acting sucks ass.
The Science of Crime. It's forensically boring.
From deep space, the seed is planted. Terror grows.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Certificate X. Now showing London Pavilion, Classic Oxford Street.
Heat 'em up. Do, re. Be gone.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, we've been talking to Joyce Isaacson about her book, Wish You Were Here, Badfinger, a rock fantasy, talking about her experiences, too, how she wrote this book, because the spirit from the band member Tommy Evans from Badfinger has been communicating with her. And it's influenced her and helped her write this book and given us a kind of a picture of what it's like on the other side, which is, like I said, I've always been fascinated by the idea of what it's like on the other side. What do we experience? What is life like on the afterlife? You know, some of my favorite fictions ever. I could just, I didn't even think about it today. This is my favorite stuff. All has to do with stuff from people after they died. And that's why I'm enjoying this book. So definitely, guys, you got to check that out. Now, you can call in. We got somebody on the phone line on hold right now. So just wait till after that phone call if you want to call in. But the phone lines are 219-230-4444 or Skype ID OOJBland00. And we will probably cut the phone lines off because we are going to try a little ITC Spirit Box experiment here and see if maybe Tommy come through, because something was messing with my radio feed tonight. It did not work. We're not on our radio network tonight. If you're tuning into that, you're hearing a rerun. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. We'll get that radio feed fixed hopefully next week. Tommy won't be here to mess with it, hopefully. But all right, let's get back to our guest. You still there with me, Joyce?
I'm still here.
All right, we got a phone call here. We got Mike in Montana. How you doing tonight, Mike? Thanks for hanging in.
Good evening, Jason. Good evening, Jason.
Good morning.
Joyce. This is
Good
Mike
evening.
Montana. Joyce, I wanted to ask you, have you ever tried to do any kind of EVPs with Tommy? Some kind of recordings or something?
The EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. It's basically, yeah. And you did just say you had a ghost hunter. Did they come over to your house and do recordings there?
This was a long time ago that the ghost hunter came in. This was actually in 1993.
Oh, wow.
When they discovered this portal in my house. I don't remember the ghost hunter's name now. I do have his address somewhere now. I just have to go find it. But yeah, they did something with an EMS thing.
EMF.
I guess it's called. EMF, yeah. Mm-hmm. And they went around the area, and it was so high. And they had a psychic come in as well, and she said, "You have a portal here."
Maybe that's how Tommy found you, because you got this open portal in your house.
Well, sometimes it's open and sometimes it's closed. Yeah. Believe it or not.
But you never...
It turns.
But you never thought about sitting down with a recorder and turning it on and seeing if Tommy would come through?
No. Oh, no. Actually, I never thought about doing that, to tell you the truth. That would be interesting. I know he plays with the computer.
I bet you'd be surprised
and
when we come through.
And he plays with my... I wonder.
Yeah. I'm your man for that if you ever do it and need help. That's my specialty in the paranormal's EVPs. That's a great question, Mike.
Yeah, I should try that.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions, Mike?
Thank you for answering my question, Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in, Mike.
I was just thinking, I don't have just a spare recorder to do anything.
You have a cell phone?
Yeah, I do have a cell phone.
You can use that.
Yeah, maybe I can use the cell phone.
Yep. Oh no, I've got an EVPs on my cell phone. There's, you can use the memo recorder on there. They can leave it on anything, honestly.
They work really well.
Yeah. Honestly, can leave it on anything. And if you get one and need help figuring it out or whatever, you just give me a buzz, because I love EVPs. That's like my paranormal gold. I have a collection of hundreds of EVPs I've recorded on investigations.
Wow.
Yeah. And why so many?
No, I actually saw on television, they did a recording and they showed a chair and the chair flipped over.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm never lucky. I've never had any really good video evidence, but my best evidence is the voices I've gotten. Pure voices that come through on a recorder that should not be there.
Well, I've got a picture of a ghost on my veil from my wedding.
Oh, wow.
I have a picture.
Well, I have to imagine you have had a lot of spirits around you, Joyce. Just everything you're saying, people that have your ability, they attract the spirits because they're looking for somebody who can see them and hear them and carry messages sometimes too. And it seems like that's what you've been doing here for Tommy is giving him an outlet, a way to get his story across.
I think so. I definitely agree. I wish I could show you the picture that I have in my veil. It's really... It's incredible. I took it to a photographer to blow it up just to see, what it was. And he said it looked like somebody looking through the curtain of a window. And it's a real face. of a person.
Wow.
Yeah. I was really, really surprised. I have it. If I can make another copy of it and send it. We'll talk about it afterwards. I'll see if I can find it. It's in my photo album. Yeah.
One
It's
thing
in my
I'm
photo album.
doing a real quick check here because I keep forgetting to do it. We do have a Patreon, people. You can go there if you become a Patreon. You can message me on there. I'm checking my messages now on there if I got anything from anybody. Nope. But if you are a Patreon and you have a question tonight before we leave, you can definitely leave it on my Patreon. I will definitely check to see if you leave me a message. Rob, do you want to give it a shot? We'll give it before we run out of time tonight, and maybe before we get another phone call, we'll run the spirit box if you're all right with that, Joyce.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
We'll see what happens.
I don't know whether you'll get them or not.
No, we never know. And I do have to mention, somebody sent me a message on one of the phone lines about they wanted a message for themselves personally. This isn't our normal ITC Spirit Box night. We're just running a very short experiment because of some of the technical stuff and what Joyce has been having happen with her with the spirit. And sometimes when these spirit connections are this strong, you get some interesting results. So even though we're all in different places in the United States right now, I swear they're able to float into the digital universe that we're in right now and communicate. We've had voices, Joyce, come through, not through a spirit box or anything, just directly into the audio of the show more than once.
Mm-hmm.
So, we never could explain it.
One thing I know that about Tommy is that he is very, very shy around a lot of different people. That he isn't, people he does not know. He's okay on stage. He's fine on stage, but when he's in a room with people, he can be very shy.
Sounds like all the bassists I ever know.
Right, Rob? Yeah.
He can be. He said that in interviews as well.
Rob's a bass player.
It's not something. It's not something that I'm making up. He definitely feels uncomfortable.
I'm a complete different person when I'm on stage.
Yeah? Really? So you're a bass player?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Tommy's a bass player, too.
I used to be a guitar player and singer, so, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he wrote a couple of songs and gave them to me, actually. I have some of his stuff.
The stuff that he wrote afterwards, like from the spirit realm. See, that's what I find so interesting, Joyce, because there's so many. You're not the only one. There's people who've claimed they've written pieces of music or whole novels, saying they got it from that author or musician or whatever from the other side, and something that's always fascinated me.
Well, with Tommy and I, it was more of a collaboration.
Yeah, it seems
he would put in his 2 cents, and I would put in my 2 cents. And we'd work together. And sometimes the crazier these things would get, the more likes and comments I would get on these things.
Yeah.
So it's got kind of crazy. You keep reading, you'll see.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to finish it.
It gets really crazy.
All right, Rob,
way.
Go ahead and fire it up. We'll see if we get anything here. Now, you'll hear voices, because what it is we give it audio, but they'll manipulate that audio to make a message come through. Can Tommy Evans come through for Joyce? Joyce, I want you to call out to Tommy. That's how we usually get the best results.
Tommy? Hi. Hello. I don't think he's going to answer.
We'll give him a minute here and see.
Can you even say what band you used to play in? Or you still do play in?
I thought I heard it actually right after you say that. We'll have to hear that in review. I just heard bad, but like trying to. I thought I heard it actually.
Yeah, so did
We'll have to see.
I
Tommy,
I thought I heard bad a second ago.
Oh, I heard that, but it was before that even. I thought I heard the full band Badfinger. Tom.
Just Tom?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tom.
I heard Tommy.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah. Tommy, who are you looking for?
I heard it.
Who's your best friend in heaven?
Tommy, do you have any messages for Joyce?
Something about take your time.
Yeah, I heard the take your time.
Take your time.
It's okay if only she understands it.
I heard Joyce.
This is your chance right now to say anything you've been waiting to say to her.
I think he says it to her all the time, but
Well, yeah, but
he does.
one last chance, Tommy. Tom, yeah. Any messages for Joyce that you want to say? She can hear you physically. Audibly, I should say.
Finger? Did I say bad finger?
It might have. We'll have to see. I know before I thought I heard it. I don't know this time, but before I thought I heard
No,
it.
I thought I heard like finger.
I think I heard it.
Thank you so much.
I love the band. Badfinger was awesome.
Wow.
Spirits. All right.
I heard him say earlier. I thought I heard him say none.
None.
Yeah. Earlier, I thought I heard him say none. Because when you asked if I had any messages for Joyce, he said none.
None. Because he's already talking to you.
Yeah.
All right, Tommy. Any messages for your for any of the Badfinger fans out there or anybody else? Since you already talked to Joyce. You're among friends. My name's Jason, guitar player, singer. Would love to jam with you. And Rob.
He's
Fellow
done.
bass player.
Heard Rob.
I heard it too.
All right. Well, thank you, Tommy.
It's on the wall right here.
Can you say goodbye? Sometimes they do. All right. Well, goodbye, spirits. Always say goodbye. Then Rob has to turn it off if it lets him.
Yep.
I heard some things I couldn't.
I swear I heard
tell.
Badfinger after the first time we went right after Rob asked what band were you in. I swear I heard it say Badfinger.
And most things you'll hear back on playback. You won't hear it in real time right now.
Yeah, I'll let you know, Joyce, when we get to
so you'll
review
hear
it.
it
I'll
on
send you
play,
I'll send you the
yeah.
video, so make sure you see it, and
Oh,
you tell me if you hear
right.
anything else that we might miss too before I release it. I'll give it to you first.
I heard. Well, I did hear him say none.
None. Yeah.
When
well,
you asked if he had a message for me, I did hear him say Joyce.
yeah, I heard that.
I heard him say.
That's the name.
I heard him say Joyce.
Yeah, I did
And
too.
there could be things that only you would understand or know is relevant that we might just disregard.
Might
Right.
not guard, right. No, I
Yeah,
did
I
hear none. I did hear my name.
I was gonna
That
say,
was
I heard
very
Joyce.
interesting. I did think I heard bad. I thought I heard Badfinger myself, but I wasn't. Yeah.
And I heard Tommy and Tom. More than
And I
once.
heard Tommy.
Yeah.
I heard Tom.
Yeah.
He doesn't call himself Tommy. He calls himself Tom.
I heard Tom.
He doesn't call himself Tommy.
Well, I heard Tom. And I thought I heard
he won't
Tommy
call
earlier.
himself.
So, but I heard Tom loud and clear more than once. So, you never know. We never know what we're going to get, and you don't know if that was him. So, it could be anything coming through. Who knows? But it was an interesting experience. Thank you so much, Joyce, for letting us do that. And because it was too tempting. We were talking to the night. I kept on thinking. I know Rob's thinking it. He's like, yeah, we might want to try that, especially the technical difficulties. We will take anybody else wants to call in. You got a little bit of time left. 219-230-4444. Skype ID OOJ Bland 00. You can call in, ask your question, or share with us what you believe the afterlife is, or if you have any idea of what you've seen, or spirits communicate to you and tell you. Please call in, share your story. This is the place, open forum. Nobody judges anybody. This is a place to discuss and open your minds to these concepts. For you, Joyce, what is the main thing? I mean, this has had to, getting this insight into heaven. How has it changed your life?
I think it changed my life a lot because I've had so many near misses of dying and stuff. It's like, and I've also, he's told me some very positive things about my life, and I was able to get confirmation on this, but he won't tell me exactly what they are. That's the thing. And some things he has told me, but I'm not allowed to share it at this point.
Yeah, don't because I'm afraid you just shut the whole dang stream down the way it's been going. We do have another phone call. We do have another phone call on the line. Who do we got on the phone line?
Hey, it's Tyler.
Hey, Tyler. Thanks for calling in.
What's up?
Hi, Tyler.
No problem. Hi, Joyce. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm up.
The wee hours.
I am too. I've been pushing schoolwork and working my tail off, and I got 2 days off to keep working on schoolwork. But I experienced heaven myself, and everything you're speaking about is like dead on. But I didn't go through the stages. I went directly to God, and God told me it wasn't my time yet, and then I woke up in my mom's arms. And, so it was.
Wow.
This is a pretty cool topic.
Yeah.
I mean, does he talk about food at all? I love food, so I always wonder if we eat on the other side.
Yeah, it's interesting in the book. It really is.
You talk about spiritual food. Go ahead.
And is it like when we die, do we have a feast with everybody?
They say that when the Messiah comes, there'll be a big feast among the people. That's what they say. I don't know if people will have a big feast in heaven when they pass away. That I don't know. I can't answer that question. All I know is that they do eat in heaven, spiritual food, and they can have whatever they want, and they don't have to worry about gaining weight or, getting fat or whatever, or cholesterol.
Wow.
They have to know when to stop, though, because, they have other things to do. But, yeah.
Yes, you haven't. I feel like when you go on to the other side, you take on another form and a duty as that other side, either that to be a guider or a specific job in heaven. So I remember reading tons of articles about how people talk about there's specific jobs that you get assigned to that you do. And then I think maybe you work your way up to the levels after you complete certain jobs or something like that.
Again, you got to get a job. Come on.
Well, it depends on the job. It depends on what you're doing and stuff like that, and how you're growing and things. That's the other thing. It's in your mindset as well. I mean, like here, I mean, you can be bad or you can become more spiritual. And it's the same way in heaven. It's like you can become more spiritual or you can just sort of be stagnant. And being stagnant is sort of not, you're not growing. And it's very important that a soul grows. And sometimes what happens is they can reach a certain level and then they have another assignment where they come down and they actually help people on the earth plane as well. That is another thing that they do. I've dealt with certain souls before that actually have come down from the earth plane to the earth plane and had sort of guided a person. Like angels come down and they do that, but also souls can do that as well.
I totally believe that. Yeah.
Earth angels.
Especially like, if you had, like I was talking to a lady today, she lost her husband about 15 years ago. And, I told her, I mean, I kind of went out of the box. I said, I feel his presence around you. And I reassured her, like, he's waiting for you for when it's time for you to cross over,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe certain loved ones just stick around longer just to make sure we make it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. I had an experience when my father passed away. I actually heard a touch tone, and it happened to be the touch tone from my phone, but I didn't. And the funny thing was, I didn't dial, and it played the part of the Nutcracker. It went da 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 da, and that was the phone. And I just picked it up, and I heard it on playing, and nobody dialed.
Yeah.
And then I asked my husband about it, and he said, "That's probably your dad. He's trying to let you know he's okay." It was the same day I think it was the next day he had passed away. That's when I heard it.
Oh, yeah.
That happened. I'll never forget that.
Well, thank you, Tyler, for calling in.
No problem.
Thank you, Tyler.
I appreciate Joyce for being on the show tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Have a great night, Tyler.
Thank you. You too.
Take care. Wow.
I always say too, like, lots of people don't. I've experienced crazy paranormal things since my childhood. I mean, if I have crazy stuff, I can go hours on talking about my experiences. But I know a lot of people haven't had anything like that experience-wise. But I think the most common experience people have is a loved one passing on and coming across them, let them know they're okay. I encounter that all the time when people are like, I've never seen a ghost, but this happened to me when my so-and-so passed away. I've heard that so many times now. It seems to be the most common paranormal experience for anybody to have. If they're going to have one, that's going to be the most likely one to have.
Phone call.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I've never experienced anything like that before in my life. Losing a parent was very, very hard, and when I got that call, that touch tone, it made me feel, I would say, at least 70% better.
Oh, I know. I've had that experience.
Really?
I saw my grandmother in a mirror at my
That's
work
amazing.
on the day of her wake, and she actually made her presence known to my employees out on the floor right when I saw her. Yeah, so
That's amazing.
And it was like I said earlier in the show, she had Alzheimer's. I was worried about her. I was like, what happens when somebody passes on and they're in that confused state? Are they still confused, or are they totally clear when they get out? They're like, oh, I'm glad I'm over that now. I just wondered, and I was worried, and that's all I was thinking about that day when I was working. And I looked up, and there she was in this mirror.
Wow,
and I
sounds.
Smiled at me, and that was it. And she was gone, faded away. The mirror, the mirror grew really black, and I was like, what's going on? And then I saw her face, like this candlelight lighting to it, and her face appear there. And it was just for about maybe 10 seconds, and she smiled and was gone. It was that quick. But that just, to me, was her way of letting me know.
Well, my son, he actually experienced we were eating dinner, and I remember he said, "There's a lady on the wall." And I said, "What lady?" He said, "She's wearing a crown on her head and she's on a throne." I said, "What does she look like?" And he says, "Well, she's got reddish hair." And I said, "Really?" And I went over to the wall, and I didn't see anything at the time. And he said, "Well, she moved." And I said, "Well, where'd she go?" She goes, "Well, she's on the other part of the wall now." So I went to the other part of the wall, and I kept going to every wall. And finally I caught her. And I'm like, okay, there's some, I felt the presence there. And then all of a sudden the phone rang. And we found out that my husband's grandmother passed away.
Oh.
Just a little bit before, I guess.
How old was your son?
He was only about maybe 4.
Oh, yeah, that's totally the age.
He was about 4, yeah. And the thing is that I remember that she came to me, and she did not have Alzheimer's anymore.
So she had Alzheimer's.
She had Alzheimer's, yes, but she didn't have it when she spoke to me. She was like that. I mean, she was very conscious of everything, and she even told me that she made gefilte fish. and I found out during her funeral that she made gefilte fish for a whole bunch of people, or like a party. And I'm like, wow, that's really weird, because she was telling me how she was making gefilte fish, and I had no idea. I had asked my husband about it, and he told me, oh, yeah, she used to make it at this party. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that information.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it sounds, I mean, I think the reason Tommy found you is that he had to find somebody who was open, that could hear him. And do you think, when you first started discovering Badfinger, was that like how that door opened for him, or you were starting to hear that because his spirit was already coming to you?
I think the thing is that I knew 2 of the members had passed away. I didn't know their names.
Yeah.
And every time Badfinger started playing on the Drive, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Drive before.
Yeah.
In 2002 or 1 or something like that, and they started playing Badfinger, and I would yell at the ceiling at them, both Tommy and Pete, not knowing them really, yelling, "You had families, you did this, now you're back on the earth plane or something." I was really angry. And I would do that every time a Badfinger song would come on. And, and then all of a sudden, when the whole thing happened to me, and I was able to put, the Badfinger thing on the liner notes and everything, it clicked, I was open at the time, and he found me.
Maybe heard you yelling at him.
Maybe he heard me yelling at him. You never know.
Because
he never told me that.
But you're open, and you have an ability, and if you shout to the certain spirit, they might hear you, unlike another person that would, because you have an ability.
Well, I guess that's what happened then. I didn't think about that, but yeah, it's very possible.
That's what I wondered. All right, well, I want to make sure you get your information out one more time here for the audience, so where they can get your book,
sure,
and how they can contact you to get your book.
Okay, my book is on Amazon. The paperback right now is $18, and the ebook right now is 99 cents.
Oh, that's
and that's for a limited time, yes. And if you want to get it from me, it's $25, but what you would get, again, is an autographed copy. And, I forgot to mention, you would also get the ebook for free as well. You would get the ebook and the auto copy, and you would get my Rock Dreams, and you would get a segment that's not in the book, and it's really, really good. Thanks to my editor, Dennis D. Rose. And you would also get a snippet of what started the whole story. I mean, it's a really nice package. And all you have to do is email me at SharonJ000, that's 2 zeros, I'm sorry, SharonJ0023 at yahoo.com, and put in the subject line book, and then I'll be able to communicate with you. And who knows, maybe Tommy will have something to say about it too. I don't know.
Well, thank you so much, Joyce, for being on the show. I'm totally enjoying the book. Can't wait to finish it. And you said there might be a sequel to this book too.
Yes, there might be. We'll see.
All right. Well, if there ends up being a sequel, I'd love to have you back on the show to talk about it more. So thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. I do appreciate it. And I'd love to find out more about the spirit box.
Yeah. And
I heard some things in there myself.
Yeah. And I will get an edit of that, and I'll get it to you before I release it to the public. So I'll find out if you hear anything in it, too.
Yeah,
More.
I want to see if I hear anything.
Oh,
I
yeah,
definitely do.
All right, guys, that's it for Paranormal Soup tonight. Thank you again, Joyce, for being on the show. Next week,
Thank you for having me.
Oh, and I definitely want to have you back again, especially if you come out with a part 2. And I want to get a part 2. I want to definitely, I already know I want to read the second book, and I'm almost finished with the first. So definitely let me know if you got another one coming out. All right, next Sunday, same bad time, same bad channel, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Central, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time, Sunday nights. Next Sunday, Jackie Barrett returns to Paranormal Soup. Some of you guys might have known her from was a psychic competition show years ago she did. You might know her from her involvement with the Amityville horror case and interviewing.
Ooh.
Interviewing. I forgot the guy who ended up killing his whole family there. It was a great interview when we had her on last time. It's been a couple years. We're gonna get her back on, and the phone lines will be open for her because I think when we had her on, we didn't even have hardly any phone lines. So you'll be able to call in and talk to Jackie too. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Have a great night. And don't forget, subscribe. Bye, Joyce. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go follow us on our Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup page, and check us out on Patreon. Help donate to the show. Without you, we wouldn't be able to have the radio network that didn't work tonight. We're working on it. We'll get it fixed. But your money definitely helps support that channel and new things to come. We're going to work on a podcast feed, too. So with your support, we can do it. All right, guys. See you next week.